What's going on, guys? Welcome
Tag
to
him
the
in,
Weekly
tag him in
Poll.
off the top ropes.
This in this week's episode, we're apparently talking about stuff. So, like, I don't even think we have a game plan, do we? Like, we'll make it work. Like, we'll wing it.
We swung about the idea of comics that aren't current that we've been reading, sort of older
Oh
back
yeah,
figure it
issues.
out.
like old stuff. Yeah. We were, yeah, something like that. So,
Because everyone's kind
Yep.
of sick of Secret Wars.
yeah, apparently everybody's tired of Secret Wars. Man, I'll be honest. Like, there's like 3 titles from Secret Wars that I'm reading right now. I'm more interested in what's going on at DC, to be quite honest with you guys. Like, Superman Truth is amazing right now.
Really?
Like, dude, it's one of the best Superman stories written in a long time, I think. I mean,
See-
I love it.
See,
Yeah.
Andy?
What's going on
See-
with Joel? Like, his connection just dropped.
Joel just... Well, Joel's dealing
Oh,
with
there he is.
a
Okay,
with a
he's back.
storm,
Yeah,
so it's probably going to be hiccuping ever so often.
there he is. Like, he was just kind of like... For like
There
you
you-
know, 10 or 11
Yeah.
seconds.
That was weird because on my end, you guys were freaking out.
Oh, okay.
Ow.
But, no.
I
like,
can still
yeah,
hear you though.
Yeah, I'm
Still hear you,
I mean,
though.
like, I like the main story, yeah, but I'm kind of bored with like all the like the tie-ins don't even matter. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
Exact-
sense right
That's
now.
my main issue with Secret Wars. The tie-ins don't even matter. My 2 favorite tie-ins matter the least, because that's
Yeah.
X-Men 92 and Giant Size Little Marvel, which have, like, the least to do with the main story.
Yeah, like
I will
don't-
say, there is another delay.
what?
2-week delay for Secret War 6.
Yes, not till
Oh my
October
god,
now.
dude, is this like Civil War all over again?
It won't end.
It won't. This is
It's,
just
it's like
delay after
Forever
delay.
Evil.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it needs to end.
It's a little like Forever Evil now.
Yeah.
What? Oh yeah, yeah. No, dude. Like Hickman, dude. And see, I know. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, is it like a delay on Hickman's end? Because I mean, he's already. Did you guys ever
No.
see that interview with Hickman? Like, Hickman did an interview.
No, it's
where he
Ribic.
was- Okay.
Hickman wrote this like 20 years ago. No,
Yeah,
no,
he
no.
was-
Ribic needs the time to like make everything look really like to make it look as good. The other thing is that all the issues are double size, so it's like you're getting.
Oh, I forgot.
So it's like
about
they're releasing
that.
like 4 comics every 2 months or something like that.
You know why they did that?
No.
Because nobody wanted to read Secret Wars going into December.
Yeah.
They were like,
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't.
I don't either.
It would be like back when, I guess, like DC did the first, what you could call the first event, Crisis on Infinite Earths. They made it last a year,
Yeah.
and no one liked it.
Yeah, you
But
gotta
it's-
end that stuff fast. I mean, because I mean, you've already got like like the whole DC reboot going on already, and plus they have DCU now, all that kind of stuff, which is weird. DCU, I don't
It's
understand.
just a stupid name, but like. It
I
seems
think
like
we've
it's
all
fine.
done videos on DCU now and trying to
Yeah.
explain it to people.
I
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna bother because I know if I tell people this isn't a confusing concept, everyone's gonna be like, "Well, I understand it just fine."
Oh my
thanks very
god,
much."
that is
Dude.
maddening. Every
Dude.
time, whenever like when like you explain something like, man, Multiversity really was kind of a mindfuck, and people are like, I got it in the first read, thanks,
Yeah.
moron.
And then
Dude,
you
Because
guys-
I
Give me the
more than
keys to your
enough
YouTube
acid.
channel now.
Dude, Sal, I told you that, man. Like me and Sal were talking about that because I made the video. I made that video like what is because my goal is to like start getting caught up on DC, and so it's like here's like like this week and next week is like origins of the main like the 7 characters that matter. Really like the
I
3
saw.
characters that matter, but like the 7 characters, the 7 main characters from the Justice League, and then from
Yeah.
there it'll just kind of branch out on what characters are popular and what characters aren't. But right now it's Batman Endgame, Justice League, Darkseid Wars. Well, not really Batman.
Oh,
Endgame, but,
Dark
like-
Side Wars.
like
We got to
Batman,
talk
yeah.
about that for a few minutes.
Dark Side Wars,
Yes,
and
yes, we
then,
do.
And then like Superman Truth, and those are like the 3 things going on right now that anybody cares about. Well, that and like Green Lantern, Lost Army.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like those are the 4 things that are going on right now. Nobody knows what Wonder Woman's doing, and I don't think anybody really cares. So
Because they keep
Not
saying that they're
especially.
going to be shaking up her origin very soon, which I think
Oh,
is
great.
related to Darkseid.
oh, okay.
I'll talk about my theory when we get into that, but I have a pretty strong theory that I think might be right.
Then
Is
we'll
it
see
like
what's
a
up, but-
curse with anyone related to Wonder Woman where they will have like 1,000 different origins?
Yes,
there was
yes,
Donna,
it is.
there was Donna Troy, and Wonder Woman's kind of getting the Donna Troy treatment
She
since the New
totally
52.
is. She totally is. You're right.
And then I guess like Cassie, her origin. Like, no, she's totally independent. No, she is the niece of Zeus. No, wait, she's, I guess, the illegitimate daughter of Zeus. It's like, can we please just have one solid origin for just one
Right, like,
character?
well, how about let's focus on not even telling her origin anymore and just do the damn book.
Yeah. Okay, my mic shouldn't be popping anymore, but no.
Also-
So anyway,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
DC.
I made the DCU video, and like people were commenting like I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, I don't understand how to make it any clearer, guys. Like I don't know how to explain this better than I explained it. Like there was a New 52. They canceled all the continuity except for Batman and Green Lantern. And then they came along with Convergence and they said, nope, all the old continuity's there and they're all just alternate realities. And they said DCU is based on that now you're going to see all different kinds of stories from all different kinds of continuities. And that's it. And I probably could have explained it in 30 seconds. But,
Well, hilariously enough, it's not even that they're doing like all kinds. Like it's not like Convergence created a rich bouquet of universes and stories. It's just we're gonna tell the stories we were gonna tell like over a period of years in a period of months, and we're not. And rather than like try and make them fit into continuity, f you.
The real truth of DCU is that it's up to you to make up the continuity.
Exactly. You get to pick what matters.
You know what it
It's
is.
your job.
Like, just for everyone that's saying they're missing continuity, give it a year up to 2 years. That's all I'm gonna say because already DC sales, like as much as DCU is great, but anything that doesn't have Batman in the title or Superman in the title still ain't doing great, and that was the point of this, to try and get their other titles
That's the problem.
Well, that was the big headline today, Faust, from Bleeding Cool. They're saying that DC is going to miss its target projection for what is it, for revenue this year.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, they're not like, we're not worried about DC going out of business because they're run by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers will not let them go. But at the same time, and Warner Brothers isn't worried about money. But at the same time, it's just a bit like, oh dear, they done goofed.
Let's talk about like old books and stuff. We could mention the fact that like in the mid '80s, Warner Brothers saw DC Comics as a depreciating asset, and they were like, "Hey, Marvel, would you like to buy this?"
Yeah, they did.
And Marvel very nearly did.
I can't believe they didn't do it.
Could
and
you
I'm like,
imagine that?
Jim Shooter would have overseen the whole thing.
Yes, he would. I don't know. I would have had faith in Jim Shooter too, because
Well,
I get that he was a very disliked like editor in chief at Marvel. But he was disliked because he ran the place with an iron fist, and stuff got done.
It was Giuliani time at
Giuliani
time. I'm gonna clean up this city.
Yeah,
but can you name
at the expense of everyone's civil liberties and whatnot?
But can you name one liked editor in chief in DC?
True.
Yeah.
Stan Lee was universally loved. I don't know what you're talking about.
At DC.
At DC.
No, I don't know. I think Stan Lee wasn't very well liked either at Marvel.
No, he's still not. I mean, like people are still like, Stan Lee's a bunch of crap. I don't know. Jack Kirby for like, okay, man, I'm sorry you're so mad at the one guy who didn't die. But get over it.
Steve Ditko's alive, but apparently Steve
Ditko has had at least the good sense to become a hermit like 35, 40 years.
He's a recluse, like a serious recluse.
Like I looked that up, man. Like Steve Ditko is on the order of like Bigfoot. Like no one's photographed him. In forever. No one's interviewed him. Like no one even knows if he's real. He could just be a fictional character that was made up.
No,
and
it's the greatest punk of all time.
Yeah,
like Steve Ditko was never real.
I have a weird perspective on the whole Stan Lee Jack Kirby situation because what Stan Lee did was fucked up. Like it was fucked up. But at the same time, if Jack Kirby was alive today, he would also be in the movies making cameos.
Yeah.
He would also be going to conventions because he was a people person just as much as Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But would he be the living Walt Disney of comic books that Stan Lee has fashioned himself into?
Yeah, he would.
Stan already put himself... Stan would not have stood for Jack Kirby, for sharing the limelight with Jack Kirby.
No,
I think...
Dude. He wouldn't have had a choice. And here's why. Like, it's a classic court case. Like, how can you confront your accuser if your accuser's not alive? Like, that's a problem with the whole Jack Kirby thing. Like, dude, I guarantee you, if Jack Kirby were alive, like you'd see some mudslinging, some serious.
Let me tell you,
mudslinging.
he only died in 1997.
Yeah,
like
I understand
there was
that.
already like the mud had already been slung. The guy was already like. But I don't think that Kirby was. I think that Kirby was from an older generation of people who were like, I'm not gonna go out there and start bad-mouthing people just for the sake of doing it. If you ask me a question, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm also not gonna like look for opportunities to talk to dress down a man whom I worked for, worked with, and who, you know, screwed me out of money. I mean, like, the fact is,
But he did get his revenge in the end, because I know like no one read this article, but like last year, was it the year before that? I know I think it was closer to 2 years ago now. The Jack Kirby estate won the case against Stan Lee.
yes.
But it was like 2 years ago, but like no one talked about it. It was like, come on.
Well,
can
it
we
was
please
because
talk about
he's
this?
like he's already gone. It's like it was like the Finger estate getting, you know, restitution for
Yeah,
creating
yeah.
Batman villains. Like, sorry, but the damage is done, man.
Yeah.
Like, Bob Kane's dead, Bill Finger's dead, Jack Kirby's gone. Like, the for me the biggest tragedy of Jack Kirby was that the only comic book honor that I saw, you know, like a big full page like respect to Jack Kirby, was in Batman Spawn.
Oh, really?
Aw.
I thought he gets pretty solid recognition for the New Gods.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I mean,
Series.
when he died, when he passed away, like the
Okay.
big splash page. You know, there was no like 4-page splash in Wizard magazine. Let's put it that way.
Well,
Oh, okay.
well,
And
and he had Dan Turpin from the superhero show, who was basically just Jack Kirby, and they literally gave him a funeral where all the heroes showed
That's
up.
right.
And everyone was really sad.
Here's the other
That's
thing.
a great
You could also
episode.
just
See,
if you
I
ever
would-
wanted to find Jack Kirby characters, just simply read Final Crisis and look for all the characters. You go, why are they in this book? Because Grant Morrison wanted to put all the Jack Kirby characters in the book.
But when Jack Kirby died, I would have killed for something. Being the age that I was, I would have killed for something that was a bit like when Kermit the Frog explained Jim Henson's death.
I would
Yeah.
have like, literally murdered a human being.
Like Jack Kirby.
Like Jack Kirby.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey guys, it's me, Orion, and I'm here to talk about the passing of Jack Kirby.
oh,
Well, like,
man.
not
No, the
Orion,
dark
but like
side.
someone like, I don't know.
Hi, Father.
Hi,
Some-
Father.
Jack Kirby was high five.
I'm trying to
He
think of like
basically
a
was
fun,
iPhone.
like a really fun character that he made, but I'm like, Clarion?
But Big Barda's kind of fun. It's like, hey, I'm Big Barda. I was based off a porn star and Jack's wife.
Yeah.
That's
I'm based
cool.
on the
Maybe-
I'm based on the sexual promiscuity my husband wished.
Maybe the Forever People?
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Rob explains justifiable murder. I'm not saying it's okay to murder people. I'm not saying that it's acceptable to murder.
Comics
I'm
explained
not
for murder.
advocating-
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm not an advocate of murder. All right, I'm.
I don't know, man. I'd watch that show. Rob explains trash bags. Rob explains getting away with it.
Yeah,
So
Rob
here's
explains
the-
chloroform.
Like now, I'm not advocating this, but on the off chance
You should
that
stop.
you thought it was a good
You
idea,
should stop right there before you say.
That's true.
My mum
Oh,
always,
man.
in the back of her car, always has a blanket, some rope, a shovel,
Good
and
idea.
a flask. And I always
Hey.
say, oh, that's just because, whenever she kills a person, she's parched.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be? It's thirsty work.
Oh, gentlemen, should I record this show?
I'm already recording it.
Oh, excellent. Well, then there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you
How's that
go.
So, older comics that we've been reading.
Yeah.
I've been reading I'm doing like the whole history, like the chronology of Jean Grey. So I went back and I was reading
Nice,
the whole
nice.
Phoenix Force,
Awesome.
Dark Phoenix Saga, like Phoenix End Song, which
Book sucks.
Greg Pak, I love you, man. You made
But-
Magneto Testament, One of the
All your
best-
Hulk work, all your
Yeah.
new
Hulk
Superman
stuff.
work.
Magneto Testament was one of like
He
the
writes
best stories
Superman
ever.
Truth.
He writes Superman Truth. Well, he writes the Action Comics Superman Truth.
Well,
but,
Action
like,
Comics, yeah. But
He's cool, Greg Pak. I love you, man. But
he's
and
cool and everything.
And I understand that Phoenix End Song was written at the direction of Marvel editorial, but come on, man.
But come on.
I think, in terms of like the Phoenix, my favorite sort of, and this was kind of like my first major exposure to the Phoenix as comics were being released that I was getting every month was
Yeah.
Grant Morrison's run on the new X-Men.
Yeah.
Because the Phoenix kind of fell into obscurity for a bit in the 90s, and then new X-Men happened, and then you had like the whole.
turtlenecks.
Well, they were
Leather
working
and
on bringing her
turtlenecks.
back during the 90s, like in the late 90s after Onslaught. They were toying with the idea, and like there were all these different like Easter eggs throughout Uncanny X-Men about like the Phoenix maybe coming back, and like Jean being like, "Oh, my powers are getting stronger again," and like fire imagery being, and then I don't remember who was writing it. I think it was probably Scott Lobdell, and he like left, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, we're not doing that."
No, it would have been terrible. I mean, the only reason why they even did Phoenix Sun Song was like, we need to get rid of this like 30-year-old, like, you know, cloud hanging over our head. Like, let's just kill her off and be done.
But like,
She was already dead.
well, no,
like,
but I mean, it was
people are saying to me, "Where's Jean Grey now?" And I'm like, "In the White Hot Room." And then people are like, "No, there is no White Hot Room anymore because Battle World is the only thing that exists. If the Phoenix exists, which it does, the White Hot Room exists."
Yeah.
Right.
That's simple.
And see,
Yeah, and the Phoenix exists in Scott, who is dead.
Who is dead?
It's got to
So
find a new
Jean
host.
is in Scott. She's a necrophile, essentially.
Yeah, I guess. Well, see,
Did
that's why. See, that's why. Like, that's why I love, and I. That's why Hickman drives me insane, man. Because on one hand, Hickman is like, here's this incredible story that's going to be the best story that you've ever read, involving like this group of characters, since they were written by like whatever this writer was that was like prolific. Like, could you imagine like Hickman X-Men would be like the greatest thing since since Claremont, and like, you know, the Fantastic Four was you know, so on and so forth, you know, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then it's like Secret Wars, and he
Yeah.
was like, hey, here's a Phoenix Force with Scott Summers, and now he's dead. It's like, all right, Hickman, like where do we go from here? It's like, well, you know.
Yeah, you see, to me that felt more like Marvel editorial, being like, we got to further bury these X-Men guys. How much further down can we bury the X-Men and prop up the Inhumans?
But the thing is, they
Humans.
can't get rid of the Phoenix because the Phoenix is the nexus of all life and all passion in the universe. So long as people are alive and so long as those people care about things, there is the Phoenix.
Well,
Like,
no, not necessarily. No, not really.
just not do it with a sandbag.
Like, you could. There was, man. There. See, this is why I feel so weird knowing this kind of stuff. Back in the day, when it was Rachel Summers, maybe Jean.
Rachel
I don't remember.
Summers.
It was the Beyonder, when the Beyonder was there during Secret Wars #2,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like just so you know, like, I could destroy you anytime I want, but I'm not going to.
And Doom has the power of the
Yeah, and
Beyonders now.
Doom has the power.
so
Doom
ipso
accesses the
facto.
power of the Beyonders. Yeah, and that was a big difference, because here's what I want to know: Doom accesses the powers of the Beyonders. So what powers does Doom have? Like, what if
All of
somebody
them.
just like closes that door? Because like Molecule Man is like his, like, you have the power of the Beyonders, you have Molecule Man, and you have like Doom tapping into Molecule Man to use those powers. So what happens if somebody like closes that door off? And then Doom doesn't have access. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. Like, and I think Thanos is going to be the one to do it. Either that, or as I'm hoping, because Jonathan Hickman loves being like, here's this crazy ass freaking scenario at the end of the comic. I'm hoping we have like a Phoenix Force powered Franklin Richards.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Dude,
You
it'd be
know
so
that Franklin
beast.
Richards is not gonna
So
be
beast.
see,
the fix for
see,
this.
the one character I want to have the Phoenix Force almost had it. She was in such close proximity to it. And that's Scarlet Witch. Like, in
Ooh.
Avengers vs. X-Men, she was like
Yeah.
centimeters away from it. And then I was like, go into her, turn the page, and I was like, oh, wow.
More Phoenix negated.
Speaking
the end.
speaking of Jean, did you guys see the solicitation for the upcoming Lemire X-Men? And it's old man Logan meeting young time traveling Jean Grey for the first time. I'm like, ooh, there's an image for you.
Yeah.
That'll be
Totally
weird.
down.
I always found it kind of uncomfortable when young Scott started going out with X-23, because I was
Yeah.
just a bit like, oh, that's Scott and Wolverine together.
Yeah,
I-
well, it's more or less them saying like, yeah, Scott and Wolverine just need to bang and get it over with.
Yeah.
Exactly. They need to get a room. They need to work out all that aggression. Then they can
Yeah.
be cool buds forever and
messed
ever.
I mean, you can't hate someone that much without really wanting to bang them.
I mean,
It's just
That much
moonlighting,
passion.
man. Yeah.
And see, like I was going through Reddit, and people were like
As you do.
people kept talking. Yeah,
A
as I
friendly
do.
place.
Yeah. Oh god, Reddit's it's a
A
safe
bastion of reason and
haven. Reason and
understand.
logic. If
See,
you want to encounter people who are clearly on the enlightened side, like Reddit is the place to go. Especially
Great for
Reddit
when you're looking
politics.
for stuff.
But
Oh, Reddit. Oh, yeah.
Reddit politics is a hive mind of clear-headed people that think rationally and view both sides of the argument in an intelligent way. The funny thing was, like, in Reddit Marvel, people were talking about the X-Men and stuff, and I couldn't help but think of that Rachel McAdams meme where it's like Marvel, quit trying to make the Inhumans happen. Like they're
It's
not
not
going
gonna
to happen.
happen.
It's not going to happen.
No, but
So
dude, new book.
frustrating.
It's Inhumans, Uncanny Inhuman. What's the new Inhuman book they just announced? They announced a brand new one. It's going to be like Quicksilver's X, who's going to be leading this
Dude,
team of
I
all
will
the
say this: like Charles Soule's like Inhuman before they did Secret Wars.
Yeah.
What a weird decision. Like, hey, here's like start this new Inhumans book so we can cancel it and then not feature any
Start
of the characters.
Uncanny Inhumans.
Yeah, and like not feature any of those characters in Secret Wars. But nonetheless, you know, like Inhuman was good.
Yeah, I dug it. I'm
was-
still very much in for the Charles Soule ride.
Oh yeah, Charles Soule is he's a solid writer. It's I'm not sure if it's good enough that like it would become better than X-Men,
No.
but it's
But it
good.
doesn't have the history that X-Men has. But it can be better right now, or at least it was better in the Bendis age when I was so fed up with Bendis X-Men. I'm like, yeah, man, Inhumans for life. But now that they've gotten better writers on the X-Men books, it's like, hey, Lemire, and I think Tim Seeley's writing one,
Yeah.
and some
Oh,
other stuff.
well.
To where I'm like, ooh, okay, I don't know. X-Men's looking pretty good again. They got some good new teams. I don't know.
I was talking to the gang about the Inhumans, and I was like, you know, like I was talking to them about the idea because like everyone who likes the Inhumans is like they're not trying to replace the X-Men with the Humans. They are.
Yes, they are.
And the fact is, like, I was trying to explain the Inhumans, and they were like, we were talking about it, and they were like, the one thing that they definitely 100% cannot get past is, so in order to become an Inhuman, you go into a cocoon,
Yes.
and either you die or you spring out of it with lame, silly Jack Kirby powers.
Yeah, basically, like
More or
depending on-
less.
Yeah,
Like,
like
you
you come
either
out with
you're
powers.
like you could be like a mantis man or a sun projector man or a
Or have goat legs.
yeah, or a stomping powers guy. I'm like, and they're like, that's really stupid.
yeah,
Like
you
at
get
the end
powers
of the
based on what
day,
they're gonna do with your
if a
character.
mist that's like is that like friggin' On the Beach, which is a book I just pulled out of the friggin' ether about nuclear holocausts.
Yeah.
And about the idea that like this nuclear fallout cloud was circling the Earth,
Yeah,
and everyone's
Australia is the
running,
last place
and they're
left.
running away from it.
Yeah.
Like
It's a good movie and a good
the idea being like there's this like Terrigian or whatever cloud that's like flowing around the Earth, and it's turning people into cocoon. This is friggin' like this is Cocoon. This is stupid.
See,
Well,
like,
like that
my
was,
big-
huh?
My biggest issue with the Inhumans is how they're slowly turning certain mutants into Inhumans.
Have they
And-
actually done it
Hold
yet?
of them
Because I've
right.
always suspected that's what they're doing.
As far as I know, they only did it with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Are
But
they
they're not
Inhumans?
humans, though.
Yeah.
They're not Inhumans, though. They were created by the High Evolutionary, so they
Oh,
actually
oh.
went back in con. They're not Inhumans.
Whenever
I
they
had to
pull
suffer
the-
through that story. They're not
So-
Inhumans.
So what are they?
The clones created by the High Evolutionary.
The
They're
High Evolutionary is like the Bechdel test equivalent. Like he is whenever you introduce, they need to have like the High Evolutionary test. If the High Evolutionary has been introduced to your story, it means they ran out of ideas and they needed to fix it. Like it means that they don't know what to do.
Oh
But
my
it was
God, like,
working
this
for
character
years.
died. Let's just grab their counterpart from Counter Earth.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get why it needed to be changed. They are mutants and they're Magneto's children. Done.
Because
Movie
they're
right,
in
that's why.
movies that don't have Magneto in them.
Oh
That's
my God,
exactly-
that's 100% right. And here's the kicker. Here's the funny thing for me.
They're miracles.
Yeah, like it's the weird thing here is this. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were never that relevant in the first place. Like they've never had solo books. They've always been part of teams.
Scarlet Witch had a solo book.
What?
And Scarlet Witch
Nice.
is getting a new one very
No,
soon,
okay, when
written
did
by
Scarlet-
Robin.
okay,
Yeah.
No, Scarlet Witch didn't have a solo book. She had a book alongside the Vision.
No, she had a solo book called Scarlet Witch. It was a limited run, but it was her book.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Ooh,
I
if
pride
only we had.
myself on. No, Faust. We're gonna look. No, we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm
If only we had a
Googling this.
magical box in front of us that gave us all the information of the world. If only we could ask this
Yeah,
magical
Scarlet-
box.
Yeah, if
Scarlet
only we
Witch,
had the collected
Volume 1.
knowledge and experience of the entire human race available at the stroke of a key.
Scarlet Witch,
Keyword.
Volume 1, 1994.
No, that doesn't count. That doesn't
Well, we can
count.
just move the goalpost then.
Let's just move the goalposts. Is exactly what we're doing. Like, no.
Yep.
We're
Oh yeah,
not.
there it is. Boom.
But no, that was a funny thing. Like somebody had commented on my channel, and it's amazing. Like some of the stories that people like pull out of nowhere. Like somebody commented, and they were like, "Can you do a video about the Evolutionary War?" And I was like, "Nope."
They actually hinted at another evolutionary war at the end of that Quicksilver Scarlet Witch story where they defeat the High Evolutionaries. Like, oh, well, I'll come back again for another evolutionary war, and then
Yeah, please don't. Do us all a favor and don't do that.
I mean, it's see that's the problem. Like, I agree with Sal with the High Evolutionary. Like, he never the last time the High Evolutionary was ever pictured in anything that even kind of sort of mattered but didn't really matter was during like the beginning of the Silver Surfer's most recent run, I think, like his solo series, and it was something about the Silver Surfer losing his silver lining, and they were just like, really?
You mean he doesn't see the good in
Enjoying
things
Are
anymore?
you serious? He's gonna put it up on the screen. Come on.
Wait, who put what up on the screen?
You'll have to watch the replay.
Yeah, I paused the thing because we
Sal
entered
put the
like,
comic up on the screen.
Bam!
thank you.
Round of applause for Sal.
Guys,
We're gonna do that.
don't-
If I'm driving, I'm gonna do that occasionally. We're gonna throw
don't
it.
believe that.
I was
guys,
hoping to
like,
throw it over Rob's little guy.
Guys, don't believe that image that you saw. Like, Sal made that in Photoshop.
Yeah, I would do. You know what? No, I don't want to have credit for that. That's that awful. That's that awful Scarlet Witch from that awful Avengers cartoon from the '90s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where she talked like this. Like, oh my god.
Duh, me love Moose and Squirrel.
That was. If you guys ever haven't watched the old Avengers cartoon, I don't remember what the hell it was called. I don't remember. But like
Assemble.
the Avengers Assemble. No, that's what they call the crappy one that replaced Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I guess.
But there's another Avengers cartoon that really blows, and the opening theme showed Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, and they like went hooray, and then they shrank, and then they replaced them with like Ant-Man and Scarlet Witch and like a bunch of and the Unsellables, as I like to used to call them, because none of them could ever freaking have their own book. It was yeah, Avengers United They Stand, I think it was called. Thank you,
The
Peter
crappiest
Michael.
version of Hawkeye you've ever seen.
He was, yeah, it was like it was like someone, it was like Kang
That
the
should have
Conqueror
crappiest
himself.
version of Hawkeye.
Yeah, it was like Kang the Conqueror himself went back in time, picked one, just was like 1996, and then grabbed each moment of each character's like lowest point, like grabbed crappy Thor with like his head scarf and his like ridiculous bondage gear, and Scarlet Witch with her crew cut and her little like ponytail like Anakin Skywalker, like yeah.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I always thought was kind of funny was after like Claremont, when he was like, you know what, like the version of Storm that we've had for like the last like 10 years just isn't really good enough. Like, let's just make her like a punk rock Storm.
Yes,
and like,
please.
like a mohawk. Yeah, like it was cool. And people were like, yeah, that's cool because Storm looks like she's awesome now, and it looks like she really could just like really screw you up.
Oh yeah.
And so like that was awesome. And then Marvel was like, you know what, that's a really good idea. Like, let's do that with everything. And so they were like, let's give all these characters all these different designs, and let's make them all cool and punk rocky. And it was like, no, Marvel, that's not what you do in this situation. Like, what you do is just not do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, what if we gave everyone jackets?
Give them leather jackets, man.
Everyone wears a jacket.
Periodically, everyone just gets put in leather. Like, screw the spandex. Leather for everyone. There are no more cows left on Earth, but everyone looks cool.
I mean, that's why I said, like when you brought up Grant Morrison's X-Men, I was like, you gave them all like mock turtlenecks. And it was like, these are not the X-Men these are not the X-Men you're used to. They don't go out and they don't fight like the Friends of Humanity. They fight like they sit around and like they smoke like pipes and they talk about the struggle, you know, and
It's real. Struggle is real, man.
Struggle is real, you know, and like they
the mutant
like,
struggle is real.
Society, yeah. Like that's you know, and that's pretty much.
I loved Grant Morrison's run on the X-Men, but if you added like sound effects to that run, like, it would just be squeaking every time someone walked because everyone had leather pants. Even if they had like a dress, there were leather pants under the dress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, Grant Morrison's run was not bad at all. It was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it, but no. Like,
anyway, what else?
It gave us characters like Kid Omega. Kid Omega's cool, right?
Okay, no, okay. Let me tell you something. There's only one. Like, the only reason why Quentin Quire was ever cool is because he inspired he inspired Schism. He was he inspired Schism, didn't he? Where you had like Wolverine and you had Cyclops to split the Jean Grey school in half.
Yeah.
He started a riot in the school, and he was like, you got to pick sides.
But like
And
I did like when he came back to life for a bit, and then he saw the X-Men had gone to Utopia, and he was like, "This was my idea, and you told me off for this."
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he
the
tried-
podcast has started officially. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. About an hour ago, actually. Welcome to the show.
I sure
what
hope
other
so.
old
this
books
far.
are we reading?
Okay, can I throw out which old books I've been reading?
Yeah.
I've been reading Sandman.
Ooh.
It's a lot more. Okay, so I remember Sandman Volume 1 being amazing. Sandman Volume 1 not great. So Volume 2 onwards really really good, but Volume 1 just it feels like it didn't know what to do with itself, and kind of looking back on it, it's just
Well, you're talking about a guy that runs around and sprays people with a gas that makes him fall asleep.
He's talking about Morpheus and Death.
yeah. Oh, Grant
Vertigo.
Morrison's Sandman.
Oh,
That
okay.
one.
I thought you were talking about like
No,
DC
not Grant
Sandman.
Morrison.
Not-
Neil Gaiman.
Not Sandman with the gas mask
Oh, okay.
and the
My
fedora.
bad. My bad.
It's a pretty cool design, though. Even
It's
though
a
the
Great
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
Sandman, but not that Sandman.
I mean,
mean,
they're
I'd be kinda
technically
worried.
connected if you read all of Neil Gaiman's Sandman, because eventually DC was like, "Hey, Gaiman, you can't just make a character and give him a new name. You need to explain why the old one's not about anymore."
Yeah, he did put the other Sandman in there for like a panel.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Say that again, Faust. You have to explain why the old one's not about anymore?
Yeah,
Like what
DC
they're not
said-
about, or why they're not about?
No, why they're not about. It's
Why they're
'cause-
not walking
But
about.
they're not like out and about. Is what
Yeah.
he
there
like-
you go. That's the
Oh,
one.
see, I have to get used to the phrases that you people use overseas because they're weird.
They're not-
Hey, see, I got that one.
See, like why they're not about? Like, what do you mean why they're not about? You mean like why they're not there? Like that?
Yeah.
I don't know how
About-
you talk, but here in America, we speak American. All right.
In America, America, the
Right.
capital of the universe. We
speak
speak it
American.
right here.
if you want to say on the podcast, learn the language.
I guess if I were to say it in Canadian, I'd be like, yeah, you know, why aren't they a boot nowadays? I mean,
Yeah,
right?
A boot?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What hockey team do you like?
No, I don't. Okay, so I'm sorry,
It's-
Faust. Continue on with your story.
Okay, and then I forgot where I was
Did I
going.
hurt
I'm
your
gonna
feelings?
move,
Did I hurt
I'm
your
gonna
feelings,
move straight
Faust?
onto the other book because I don't want to do this.
I don't wanna do this anymore.
No, the other
Go.
book I've been reading is, and I'm kind of like almost done with it, is Dazzler from the 80s.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it
See, I really
sparkly?
couldn't get into Dazzler back in the day until she
I
became
don't-
Galactus' Herald for one issue and then died.
It was 2 issues, thank you very much.
I will have you know, sir.
She became the Herald of Galactus, and she was like she was literally like a story like that you would expect to see or you expect to read about from ancient times when they were like, here's what the constellations mean. Like she becomes a Herald of Galactus and then she becomes like a bright shining star in the sky. And that's it.
She literally dives into a black hole because the Galactus is like, "Hey, you produce light, don't you?" And she was like, "Yeah, can I go home?" And he's like, "Yeah, right after you dive into this black hole."
That's basically it. No, I never got into Dazzler. I mean, she was cool. Like I like Dazzler from A-Force better, but I never really got into like the old school
That's a fun
80s
Dazzler.
I love old school Dazzler, and I love reading it while listening to Let's Groove by Earth, Wind and Fire because
There you go.
That sounds about right.
If a comic had a soundtrack,
Would be that.
I don't know, it's just something about it. It's so much fun, and it has everything that I love about the X-Men in it, but focuses just on one character, and where it's mostly about drama instead of about fighting, because it is about Dazzler and how she's got to balance her career along with being a superhero, and she's got a love life and a boyfriend, and her boyfriend wants to know why she's always having to go and disappear.
Sal.
It's just so
Let's put a
much.
Dazzler comic on there. See, look at that.
That's
I mean,
it. That's the Dazzler
that
book. The fast talking.
screams. That screams 1980. Like if there was ever a comic that looked like if there were ever a comic cover that looked like
It looked like a
poster-
year?
Yeah, it looked like a year. It looked like a poster for Saturday Night Fever. Like you expect to see like John Travolta show up.
That is
in the
exactly
comic.
what that is.
That's exactly
about a
what
time
That is. You know what that is? That is Xanadu.
I love
won't
explaining.
cry for
why-
you.
I love explaining why Dazzler was made to people because they're just like, wait, what? That was a thing back in the day. Like
What
you
disco?
know-
Yeah.
No, they because she was made because a record company thought comics were going to be the big thing, so they commissioned a character from Marvel. But then during that time, the record company went out of business. But Marvel had already made the Disco Dazzler, or the Disco Queen, as she was already originally called. Wow. And then they were like, okay, we need to do something with this. So they reworked her, called her Dazzler, because they're like, Disco's going to die. And then threw her into the universe.
My name's Dazzler, and I make sparkly lights. Isn't it cool? I'm like Jubilee, except, you know, I'm not annoying.
Except like 20 years before Jubilee.
Well, like, back in the 80s, she was a lot better, because there weren't... The point of her was that there was no limit on her power. She could create light, but she could create any kind of light, so she could produce radiation. She could produce lasers that could shoot through solid steel cement, apparently. She had literally no limit on her power, and then as soon as her book ended, all anyone ever did was crap on her, and now like me and 3 other people remember what she can do, and all the writers that get a chance to write her are just like, okay, so Mystique is going to harvest Dazzler for mutant growth hormone, and...
for months, and the team will have no idea what's going on. Then she'll come back and she'll change her costume, and they'll make a big deal about it in the media. Then when she changes her costume, the characters in the book don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her costume change, I'm sorry, she looked like she just went into Hot Topic and went, I'll put a rip in this, and then put it on.
Another storyline that was never resolved because, like, Bendis had already checked out by that point in the book, and he's like, "Oh, Dazzler gets a new costume." He does. That's why I'm so worried about the new Iron Man, because, like, man, I can't wait to love the first 2 arcs of that, then slowly hate the book after Bendis moves on to other projects and stops giving that one his full time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, I know like nothing about Dazzler. I know like a little bit of stuff, but I never really cared that much about her character.
You should look into her if you like Dazzler.
No, I don't like Dazzler enough to care
about her. If you like the character we're talking about.
That's the only way to describe her book, because it is just about her. It's not about being a hero. Like, it is a little bit, but I mean, one of my... Oh, you go.
What?
You go.
What?
You can go.
What?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll go then. One of Marvel's first graphic novels.
One of the things that I thought was weird.
Oh, fuck you.
I saw him baiting that trap, and I'm like, oh, is Faust going to take the... Oh, he took the bait. Now he's got him.
I mean, one of Marvel's first ever graphic novels was actually about Dazzler. I think they called it Marvel graphic novel Dazzler the movie. And it was, yeah.
Well,
and it was like 100 pages long, and it was, I think, one of the first times that a mutant celebrity outright outed themselves to the public, and that was one of my favorite arcs ever.
Who wrote it? Do we know?
I don't know, because I'm bad at writer names, unless they're Grant Morrison or Neil Gaiman.
Nice. Oh, it was apparently Bill Sienkiewicz worked on it.
Oh, wow.
That's
cool.
Well,
that's cool. Yeah,
okay, I got it. Here we go.
Time to see it.
We're adding another image to the chat here.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to do this periodically as we talk.
That's good. I like it. Adds another dimension to the show.
Faust, apparently you're greater than me. Well, greater than me with an ellipses, according to OG Gumby.
I don't
Faust,
think
greater sign Rob ... So you're
I don't
greater than
think
me with an ellipses.
Rob and I, neither of us are greater than each other. We just know about totally opposite things.
That's true.
Oh my God! Look at that cover of Dazzler, man.
Pretty badass.
It looks like a poster you'd see in Scarface.
Yeah.
Looks like
the world is yours, Dazzler.
Yeah,
the world is yours.
Dude, Scarface is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat just said Dazzler graphic novel movie. Sounds like the writers had an emotional roller coaster. That is
the graphic novel movie character.
Yeah, the thing where some stuff happens and it features Dazzler, something like that. I don't know.
I think they just threw darts at a board and figured it out later.
I mean, if you want an emotional roller coaster, read that graphic novel, because it is.
Well, like one of the things
awesome.
that I also went back and read too is because I mean I mentioned before, I think before we started, that like I hadn't read the new Korvac from Secret Wars, but I've been recently catching up and reading like some of the older characters that or I guess some of the older stories that are like part of Secret Wars. So I was going back and reading the older Michael Korvac saga from way back in like the the 90s. and or not in the 90s. Hell, man, that was back in the 70s or something like that, wasn't it? It was the
I think
original.
I think it was between the 70s and 80s. I want
Yeah.
to say it was like the 70s, but I don't.
I didn't look at the date, but it was old. But anyway, man, it was cool because like you kind of had like the Justice League were kind of, or not the Justice League, the
Avengers.
Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of relevant at that point, like the Guardians of the Galaxy like from the 31st century, like the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were kind of relevant at that point, but not really. But it was like Marvel was like, hey, like here's a really good way to make this team relevant so that people will care about them. And
Right.
somebody was like, how? Like, well, let's take a villain from the 31st century and send them back in time by stealing technology from Galactus' ship, and like only the Avengers can stop him. It's like, so wait a minute, so you're telling me that a group composed of what amounts to Space Avengers are chasing after a guy who merged with the intelligence of Galactus' ship, endowed himself with pretty much the same powers as Galactus, sent himself into the past to encounter the Avengers, and basically like two groups of Avengers are going to be able to stop this guy that has the powers of Galactus.
Si, senor.
Like that's the
Right.
story. And
It's
Marvel's-
really hard.
yeah, and Marvel's like, yep, and it's like, and that makes sense. Like a character that could just be like, you know what, I don't feel like fighting. I'm just gonna, phase you out of existence.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Well, can Galactus
story
make
has-
you like? Galactus can't make you like not exist.
can
Okay,
try.
fine. Okay, I'm gonna transmute you into anything like a rock,
Right.
so that you just couldn't fight. Like, okay,
That's
whatever. It's all. You sound like one of my sons. Actually, Rob.
Yeah, Rob. What you meant
Um,
to say
Yeah,
was.
like you forgot that.
Yeah, you forgot to
Galactus had
you forgot to
actually-
say that wasn't right.
Don't you love comments that start with actually?
Yeah.
You can feel that tone in so.
Yeah.
What is
Like, can I really quick, like, when I was at New York Comic Con about like a year or two ago, I think it was 2 years at this point. They have like all these great back issues there. By the way, Thursdays on Comic Pop, and you could look through them. And there's Tiffany was looking through this long box, and there were like, it's really, if you go to New York Comic Con, prepare to touch everyone because everyone's like on top of each
Yeah.
other. And there's just this wall of men, and Tiffany, and she's looking at this thing, and Tiffany's been looking through, and there's this guy behind her, and not like in a creepy, like I'm gonna get you kind of way, but more in a guy like he wants to see. He's seen everything in all the other long boxes. He's looking in her in the long box she's looking in, and she's trying to see like what the titles are, and he clearly saw one that he wanted, and he didn't know that she didn't give a shit about what was in there with respect to like whatever he was looking for, whatever gem he thought he was going to catch. And right when she was about to like stop looking, he just went, "Can I just?" and just pushed her out of the way, and then went into them. But he legitimately said "Nyerp," like the way that I would have if I were retelling the story. Like, can I just like? But he legitimately made the "nyr" sound, but like legitimately, genuinely, like he was a nerd who was like, yeah, I'm just gonna own it. I make the nerd. I tape my glasses. I protect my pockets, and I
As you
herp and
should.
derp. Like, really?
Yeah, I will say that like when we were in New York, like my experience with like I guess like nerd culture was relatively limited in the sense that like I mean the only
Well, you're
comic book stores-
insulated, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
you for the most part, and like now us, like when you like
Yeah.
connect with
And
us.
so like the only like comic book fans that I ever really talked to or hung out with were the people that I would meet here in town.
right.
Like and going the con and that kind of stuff. But I'd never been to New York comic. Man, let me tell you something, dude. Like there is a level of nerd that I didn't know
I was not prepared
existed,
for.
that I was not prepared for.
Ascended. Next level.
Ascended. It was Super Saiyan nerd, man. It
Oh my
was-
god!
it was
Well, like,
unbelievable.
and
See-
that was New York Comic Con was the first comic book convention I'd ever been to, and while it was infinitely smaller than the one that you and I had attended when I first went, like I was not prepared. I was not prepared for like. Because, yeah, being a comic book reader, for the most part, especially in the beginnings, like, you're insulated. It's you, maybe a friend of yours or two, or also into comics, but it's just you and your comic book, like, community, the people that you're at your store, if you're lucky enough to have a store. Pre-internet, of course. But then you go, and then you see these people with long boxes that are stacked on top of each other that are strapped together with bungee cords that are attached to a hand truck that they wheel around the whole effing weekend.
Yeah.
And what they do with those is they take the box out, they open it up, they go to the creator that wrote the entire run they have in the box, and they say, sign these.
Yeah. And the
That's-
creator's like, get out of here.
No, you know what's funny? The only time I ever see it happen, I saw it with Bendis and I saw it with Dan Slott. Both creators said, you got it.
And they
But
signed, wow.
they signed them all, and they were like, the only thing is, since you're clearly not here to have a human relationship with me, I am going to talk to the line and make signatures for them, but when I'm idly talking, I'm going to just sign them and then throw them at you. So, like,
That was,
it's a spectacular scene, but yeah, like, it's unbelievable.
see, that was the kicker, guys. Like for those of you in the chat, it wasn't necessarily like it was weird encountering people who were like, you know, part of geek culture in the sense that they were like dressing weird or anything like that. It was like,
No, that's actually
was-
wonderful. Like,
Yeah, it was
seeing
really cool
them.
to see. It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
total lack of social skills. It was like you would walk up to a human being and say like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they're just like, what?"
Nah!
And they don't know how to like how to be like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Like they don't know how to
No.
greet a human being.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, that's why one of my favorite things at conventions in general is just like the difference between people that aren't in cosplay, that are just there as a goer because they like what the convention's about, and then the cosplayers. Because
Yeah.
the cosplayers, if you go up to them, you're in a fucking costume. You've got to be able to say, "Yeah, hi,
That's
yeah, sure,
right.
take my picture."
Yeah. Yeah. You're ready
so-
for a photo, you're ready to talk. You also know how to, like, get yourself away from a creeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of the funny things. Like there was one point. There was one. It was towards the end of the night on Saturday, maybe Sunday. No, it was Saturday.
Probably.
'cause we
I
didn't-
don't think you even went on Sunday, did you?
Yeah, no, we didn't go on Sunday. We went on Saturday. It was Saturday night, and it was you and me. We were hanging out. We ran into one of the fans, and so we were talking to him. Like we were hanging out with him, and he was really cool. Like he had really good social skills. He was
Everyone-
like, hey, what's going on, guys?
Let me
Like,
just
what's
say,
going on?"
all the fans that we had that came to see us were
Yeah.
super rad.
Yeah, they were super cool.
Yeah, our
But,
fans are great. We just want to stress that
We
for
just
all
wanna
time, that
stress
our
that.
fans are great.
Our fans are cool. The ones that aren't our fans,
Yeah, they got some problems, but you know
Those
what?
guys
God
got
bless them.
issues.
It just makes me feel like we're going, nerds really don't have any social skills. Apart from you guys. You guys are
But
great.
except for you guys, you guys.
except for you guys. But,
Pat on the back. It's all good, guys.
but no, like it was funny because Tiffany, I think, was wanting to she was wanting to get footage or something like that of somebody who was in cosplay.
Yeah, Tiffany was shoot. Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, do you mind if I get footage from you?" And they were just kind of like, no.
Yeah, no, there
And it
were
was
there were
like-
some weird cosplayers.
Like, okay, I mean, you could just say yes or no. You could be like, no. And she's not going to be angry. She's not going to be like, well, you just destroyed my weekend.
Yeah.
It's not,
You just destroyed my weekend.
I mean, it's not going to be like that, you know? She's going to be like, okay, and then she's going to go to somebody else. You know,
Yeah.
are you putting a picture of, of the New York? Oh, my God.
All of our subjects get images.
Oh, man, that's awesome. But
Anyway.
it was funny to me. Like,
So yeah, we should probably talk about other things.
Yeah, how do we even get
So
on
what
this
what
track?
other what older books are you reading? Did we do yours?
No, you didn't do mine yet. Actually, last time I was on, Benny forgot me for what I I reading this week, but that's cool.
Aw.
But
oh.
yeah, and I remembered until this week. Back of my head. But yeah, I decided to go back really just on a whim, and I started rereading that Detective Comics Greg Rucka Batwoman run back when they really started pushing her and everything. And it's also where we get Renee Montoya in the backup issues for that is Renee Montoya as Question.
Yes, that's one of my favorite runs of Detective.
Nice, it's a good run, isn't it? Yeah.
The art just is like,
It's beautiful because they do more stuff with like the the religion of crime, and they have like this new villain called Alice who's all like Alice in Wonderland looking, and it's like it's
And
really
she
good
own-
looking.
if she only actually speaks in quotes from Alice Liddell in Alice in Wonderland.
No kidding.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's so smart. That is so
And-
smart.
And Batwoman has a great line where it's like, yeah, we already have one Alice in Wonderland themed villain in Gotham. Thank you very much. You can take your act elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a good.
I have to say, the way that run ends, and I don't want people to go and read it, so I'm not going to spoil it, but the way it ends, that you just made me go, no.
It's one of them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I love that run.
Yeah, okay. If you want to read like a weird story where you were just kind of like, Marvel, like I don't understand what you were thinking, go read Operation Galactic Storm.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
read it.
Like Operation Galactic
Which
Storm
happened at
is
the height of
weird.
like the actual first Desert Storm, didn't it? So it was
Dude,
like,
yeah,
really,
it
guys?
was weird. Marvel was like, you know what? Let's have a really good idea for a story. Let's take a race called the Kree, and let's just like make a story that jump starts their evolution. And it's like, really? Like, do we care? Like, do we care about that race that much? That's why we're doing it. Like, I mean, really? Because
Here's the
I
thing.
thought they kind of didn't matter.
If you want to, like, if you are interested at all in Galactic Storm, watch the Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes episode about it. Because it does everything right. They take everything that's like cool about the things you like, and then idealizes them. Like it's like taking Ocarina of Time and then upping the graphics and releasing it on a 3DS. It's like, oh, good, this matches my recollection of it, as opposed to it being like,
There
this
you
looks
go.
like crap. I thought I was 20 years ago I was transported to a magical fairyland, but now it looks like just polygon garbage. But like, no, like that is the way to do it. Like Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes takes the stuff you live and remember being great, and then Chris Yost goes, yeah, it was that great. See, it's only 20 minutes long, and it's really decomplicated.
As Chris Yost is wont to do. That seems to be his talent, isn't it?
Yeah,
Chris
condense
Yost
stuff
was
down to
almost
interesting things.
Chris Yost took it upon himself to try and put the genie back in the bottle with respect to Peter Parker's secret identity. Because clearly he was not brought in on the meeting about how they were gonna like undo the marriage and use magic and crap. So like he had the Scarlet Spider Squad that Iron Man used and had them all impersonate Peter Parker. So people were like, was Peter Parker actually Spider-Man, or was he just another one of those Scarlet Spiders from Tony Stark's army? Like he knows his stuff, man. We got to get him on the show because that guy, he's a font of information and continuity.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, like it's yeah. I was looking over that the other day. Like the Trial of Reed Richards is a really fun one. Like there's some really cool stories, like some older stories that are worth a read. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're not relevant right now. They don't matter, but they're still like worth a read just for the sake of posterity and saying like I read that story once. Like I read about how like Eternity was like, hey guys, just so you know, like if Galactus were to die, like some really bad stuff would happen.
Right.
Like, that was a cool thing, and I mean some of those stories are interesting, but no, I don't know, man. See, that's the kicker, with Marvel right now, and to kind of not really talk about Secret Wars, but to kind of talk about it at the same time. Like like my question is like, what are they gonna do? Like that's what I want to know. Because here's a question.
Go on as they always have. That's
Well, see,
what they're going to do.
Here's a question I have. This is why I love DC's New 52. This is like I got so into DC after New 52 and after meeting you guys, because you guys were like if you want to read DC, man, just go read New 52. And so
Yeah.
it was like, okay. So I jumped into that, and like it's a fresh starting off point. Like when Secret Wars is over, unless they're going to start issuing like issue number 0s and issue number 1s and saying like this is like reboots of everything.
that's what they're doing, I think. Yeah.
I mean, are they rebooting all their characters?
Well, no,
That's
but
what
they
I'm
are going to
saying.
give them all number ones.
But okay,
Yeah.
okay, you
Because
can give
number one sell.
Yeah, but you can give anybody number 1s at the same time. But if
They
they're
do
like,
that all the time. Yeah.
yeah, but if Marvel's like, hey, like you want to know about like the history of Peter Parker, and people are like, yeah, it's like okay, well then read like the 70 years.
They are doing that
the
though.
stories.
It's called
By the way,
Spidey.
don't let them tell you any different. They are chapter oneing.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
That's
In
okay.
Spidey.
That's what I was.
They are chapter oneing Spider-Man because they're releasing a like a. You remember Spider-Man when he was a teenager? Here's some story. We have that. It's called Untold Tales of Spider-Man, written by Kurt Busiek. And if you're not going to do that, and you're going to update the costume to look like probably what the movie costume's going to look like,
Yeah.
and you're going to like contemporaryize him, then you're chapter oneing him. And if you're not familiar with chapter 1, Wikipedia it and don't buy it, because chapter
Wikipedia.
1 was their way of trying to like mainstream. They asked Peter David of all was it John Byrne? They asked John Byrne to like fix Spider-Man continuity.
Hey man, don't
and
be dogging John Byrne.
John Byrne's
Hey.
the man, but John Byrne does not get Spider-Man.
Hey, you
And-
did Superman, right? You did Superman, so you can come do Spider-Man now,
Yeah.
John Byrne.
Right, like you took this iconic character that transcends humanity, and you did that right. But like, so I guess this everyman regular dude should be totally doable.
Right up
but
your
anyway,
alley.
yeah, that's what they're doing. They're going to retcon Spider-Man. Is my point.
Which
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with. I like the idea of like, hey, here's a book about Peter Parker as an adult being a CEO. Here's a book about Miles, the Ultimate Spider-Man, and here's just teenage stories of Spider-Man that you can
Yeah, but
always
you
read.
know
and
that
go,
what they're going to do is they're going to make it so that the marriage never happened.
They're gonna.
I don't know, man.
They're gonna
It-
retcon their retcon.
I don't know, man.
Retcon, so to speak.
In these Secret Wars books, it's funny. It's like 3 for 4 in the Spider-Man books that he goes, yeah, guys, I was totally married, or yeah, I'm totally married right now. Even in
'cause they're not
Spider-Verse,
paying attention. They're just like, yeah, you do a friggin' Spider Island book. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Cap Wolf, Lizard Hulk.
Hulk Lizard, Morbius,
Count-
Captain Marvel.
You see, I'm calling her Count Marvel. I'm trying to get Count Marvel to take off.
Love it.
Just 'cause I'm trying to get Batmech to take off, but no one seems to be biting on Batmech.
Batmech is better than Chappie Bat or Bunny Bat or whatever.
Chappy Bat.
You know why he has those ears, right? I'm sure Faust knows this because he's an anime fan. It's a reference to Appleseed.
Foost.
That's what Robot Batman's ears are all about. They're a reference to Appleseed.
Foost, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah, because I can't talk about Spider-Man.
Why?
If you wanna learn nothing about Spider-Man himself, come to me, because I know lots about Madam Web, Spider-Woman, all of the Spider-Women. Nothing about Spider-Man.
What do you think about
hilarious.
Spider-Woman being pregnant? Have we talked about that yet?
Oh yeah, what?
Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that,
Does
Faust?
she still not know who the dad is?
Probably.
I don't actually like this current run on Spider-Woman.
I didn't either. I
Well,
gave it a couple
you have
issues
an
and I
unmarried
did.
But it's
woman
Greg
and-
Land!
You have an unmarried pregnant woman who doesn't know who the father of her baby is. Like, could you
Okay, but
think
how's
of
that
a story that
different
would
from
draw
walking
more
outside?
controversy than that? Like name a story for me that would draw more controversy than saying, "Hey guys, here's a female counterpart to one of our most successful characters, and we're going to depict her in a way to where she's unmarried, she's pregnant, and she doesn't know who the dad is."
So
that
that's
big of a deal
happens
in
all the
America?
time,
No,
man.
okay, no, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like that's going to draw a bunch of controversy because people are going to look at it the wrong
It
way. They're gonna
hasn't
be like,
yet.
So are you
yeah.
saying
Americans are gonna freak out, but
are you saying like are you just like promoting stereotypes here? Like, what is this supposed to mean? It's like, well, it's a story about a woman who's like not married and she's pregnant and she's not sure who the dad is. I mean, it's
yeah,
what the
that's
story's
what it
about.
is. It's all of it. It's not a big deal, but it will be because Middle America will freak out because that's the thing. You guys up in England and Canada,
Yeah.
Rob and I live on the East Coast.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
never experienced America until you've been through Kansas.
And our entire existence is dictated by what 8 states in the center of the country that have no access to internet or cable have to say about
Yeah.
what about controversial events.
Yeah.
You know,
And Fox
in
News
certain
has gotta
states,
fill a day.
yeah, in certain states in our country, we have mandated science textbooks that include creationism. So that's where we're starting from. So the idea of taking a Spider-Woman character who no one in Middle America knows about, but the second Glenn Beck or some moron like Mike
Rush
Huckabee
Limbaugh.
his kid's gonna have rereading it and they're gonna freak out about it, and all of a sudden Spider-Woman will be a household name about what a trollop she is.
And it's
what
gonna
a-
be like, didn't we do this with Murphy Brown back
Yeah,
whenever?
Murphy
Wait,
Brown.
if they're just doing this if they just want to do this to mess with people, I know who the perfect dad would be for Spider-Woman. Mystique. Just have her like,
Oh.
There
the
you
form
go.
of a guy, and then yep, there you go. But it's actually a woman.
Yeah.
That's an amazing episode of Maury. I want to watch that.
Oh, that would be like Peter Parker. You are not the father. Yes.
Raven Darkholme, you are also not the
You are
father.
not the
Yeah.
father.
But anyway, yeah. As far as old books go, I am reading Infinite Crisis.
Oh wow.
oh, cool.
It's a crisis that keeps on going forever because DC
It is.
making crisis.
You know what's funny? I am digging the hell out of it.
I never read Infinite Crisis.
I loved it.
I don't know if you'd like it, but it's really, really good. We're talking about like Superman and like who's the what Superman represents. Like this is hitting me right where I need it to, because like it's Earth 2 Superman or whatever. Like it's the old school like pre-crisis Superman who's like old
Your
Lois.
dad Superman with the salt and pepper hair and the good
Yeah.
go
Superman.
through American.
He's like I saved people and I never lie and I'm Superman, and like you kind of associate like post-crisis Superman with that ideology, but there's this other Superman who was even more of a Boy Scout than this one, and he's like, I'm dissatisfied with the world that I left behind,
You guys
because
have all become
everyone's an
too
asshole
dark
that
and
just-
too gritty.
Yeah, and it's true, you know, like not that it's bad. It's just that like that's what the world's like. Soups, grow up. But post-Crisis Superman still manages to like beat the truth into old Superman and be like, there's a difference between like growing up and like being out of touch, like
Growing bitter, yeah.
yeah, like I am still Superman. Like, and being Superman still means like representing something greater than yourself. But you know, there's something to be said for like not sticking your head in the sand. Like your way of doing things, like you're blaming me because it doesn't matter. The point is, it's a great story, and it really distills the idea of like why I love post-Crisis Superman.
But then I loved how that ideology of being something greater than yourself went across so many characters through Infinite Crisis. Like
Yeah.
that point where Bart Allen absorbs the Speed Force
And becomes
into
Flash!
himself. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he ages.
Yeah.
Like gives up years of his life to do something good. Like,
No, it
Infinite
was
Crisis is so good.
it is a perfect like it's a perfect graduation day for DC. I feel like that's what it is. Like because Bart Allen, by the way, doesn't just like it would be easier for them to just have Bart Allen run faster than he's ever run before, which is a trope you could imagine in every Flash character's ever done, and have him try and push Superboy Prime into the Speed Force or whatever. But no, what happens with Bart Allen? He joins Wally West. He runs into Jay Garrick. Even Barry friggin' Allen, who had been dead before then, like appears. Like the whole legacy of Flash appears,
Nice.
almost as if to say, like, here you go, Bart. Like the mantle is yours. Do what you will with it. And Bart like graduates as well. It's a phenomenal book, despite the fact that it's written by Jeff Johns.
Despite the
Because
fact that it's written
Jeff
by
Johns
Johns.
wrote it, and I'm like, man, sometimes you really like hit the nail on the head, dude.
Well, don't forget, this is back when, because in terms of the Bart Allen storyline, at that point, Jeff Johns had been writing Bart Allen for like 4
I
years.
did not realize that. That's interesting.
Because he was
Yeah.
doing the Teen Titans run, so he was already exposed to Bart Allen.
And he was already used to telling stories about him. I read another book that's old, Superman for Tomorrow.
Oh.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's an interesting looking book.
Superman 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's written by Brian Azzarello.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't like Brian Azzarello. That's a
I get that
controversial
feeling.
opinion.
You've mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah, well, I don't like Joker. Like, and I don't mean like the character. I mean like his Joker book.
Oh, okay.
It's like look
What
at
about,
how.
what about
look at
Lex
how
Luthor?
Nolan,
Man of
he's
Steel?
trying to
That
out
was pretty
Nolan
good.
Nolan, even though it's like pre-Nolan.
Yeah.
It's really, it's
Well,
just
okay.
like,
Even though he swears up and down that was never the case.
yeah, right.
See, here was
Yeah.
a really cool thing that I kind of dug too because I was looking up Superman 1 million, like Superman
Yeah.
Prime, whatever people want to call it, and I was like, well, I mean, like, how did he end up in the sun? And I'd got onto to DC Comics, the DC Comics subreddit, and did a search, and somebody was like, go read All Star Superman, like Grant Morrison's All Star Superman, like it's a 12-issue, outside continuity story, and so I was like, okay, and like apparently people hail it as like one of the greatest Superman stories ever written. But I went and read like All Star, and at the end of that story, he goes into the sun.
Yeah, he becomes DC one. He
Yeah.
becomes Superman 1 million.
Yeah, he's like, I may or may not, and so like I looked it up, and yeah, apparently Grant Morrison was like he wouldn't really confirm it. He wouldn't be like, yes, Superman All Star Superman leads into Superman 1 million, but
yeah.
he was basically kind of like, I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically
I
what
did
happened.
not realize that when I read All Star Superman, and now that I know it, I just choose not to accept that because All Star Superman is a beautifully put together book, like without any horseshit continuity.
Yeah.
That I really, really don't need it to be. I mean, I appreciate that DC 1 million is its own thing, or that it's a brilliant book, but I like All Star Superman more, and I don't want to have it wrecked by having it be connected to other things.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's
one
not
of-
dead.
doesn't
He's
like-
fixing the sun.
Hey,
Yeah.
do any of you want a huge anticlimax after reading Superman 1 million? Read Supergirl 1 million.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
It's Linda Danvers' 5-year-old daughter in the year 1 million for reasons.
Oh,
The reason because
my favorite thing from the 1 million universe is Robin the Toy Wonder. Just that design.
Yeah.
Just where he's like, he looks like a Max Fleischer cartoon.
And I love
love
that. And I love that there is a statue of Little Lobo in
Aw.
the Young Justice of the Year 1 Million's face. And he's literally Little Lobo sent from the past, frozen in time, like, help! I don't know.
Nice.
No. Nice. Well, there you go. Do we want to hit another topic, or are we good?
Yeah, I think you and I wanted to talk about Justice League Darkseid War before we go. I think you and I
Oh
wanted to-
yeah.
Dude, okay, man.
Oh wait.
Dude.
Before we do that, can I just say out loud, DC Bombshells is great. Okay, now
Yes,
we
it
can
is.
talk about
Oh, you've caught up on that. See, I was singing its praises last show. You're caught up. Is that not great stuff? Is Marguerite
It's
Bennett not killing it?
Marguerite Bennett and Malouine Savage. Wow. It's just so, and you'd think it would be like just all, like, it would just be cheesecake. It's not even close. It's, yeah. Well, we do an episode of Off the Rack, which will come out tomorrow about it, and you can watch it. But like, holy damn, loved it.
DC Digital, man, high benchmark in there with their stuff like Injustice and Bombshells and Batman Beyond 2.0 and Justice League Beyond 2.0.
Yeah. But anyway, Darkseid Wars looks badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. It's gonna like it's. Let's see. I'm curious how much longer because they haven't announced how many parts.
Probably like
it's
2
gonna
more
be.
issues.
Yeah, they were just like.
At least to 46. That's how far they're solicited to.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that makes sense.
See, I thought it was gonna end in 43, but I was like, I mean, it'd have to be like a giant size issue if it's going to.
Yeah.
And we're getting tie-ins, and we're getting a bunch of tie-ins. Which matter of
Oh,
fact, this
good, I won't
issue
read
sets up
those.
the tie-ins.
Oh,
But they're
are we really?
standalone tie-ins is the thing. They're standalones on their own, which I think is
Okay.
actually pretty cool. They're not going to interrupt any books you're currently reading, which is
Good.
okay.
See, that was kind of okay. See, that was a weird thing that took me a little bit to wrap my head around is trying to differentiate. Okay, for example, like Future, or I'm sorry, yeah, like Future's End. All right, so I was going through like the chronology of Superman for New 52, and like Action Comics, Superman comics, so on and so forth. And it's like this is what drives me nuts. Is it's like DC, they don't do what Marvel does. Like Marvel, at least from what I can
No,
tell,
they don't.
Marvel will be like here is a character's story. Like, okay, Superman, or I'm sorry, Captain America Volume 5. All right, Ed Brubaker's run is a really good example.
Excellent run.
Like, you have the Winter Soldier, you have the Red Menace, and then House of M. And then the Winter Soldier, Red Menace, Death of Captain America. And it's like one issue, Superman issue number 25 or something like that deals with, like, the House of M. And it cuts right in the middle of his run. And just, that's the tie-in for House of M.
Yeah.
And Superman, they don't do that at DC as far as I can tell. Like, you've got Future's End and you've got that story, but like when that story would be taking place, like Superman's off doing his own thing in his own comic.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like it's just strange to wrap my head around that because I'm not used to that.
No.
And it's strange to see. But I don't know. It's weird.
What I like about Darkseid Wars, I know I was having this argument with my co-host from Blood Sweat Comics about God Batman on the Mobius.
Oh yeah, I love Batman. I love that guy.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Here.
Here's the thing. Matt didn't like. He's like, "Oh, God, here we go again. We got to jack off Batman a little bit more about how great he is." But I'm like, no. But that's the point of the story, though. The rest of the Justice League is terrified by Batman on the Mobius chair. They're like, "Dude, you weren't
The
stable."
Mobius chair, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like you weren't stable from the word go. Now you have all the information of the universe in your crazy head. You're gonna hurt yourself if you don't hurt us, man.
I think what's more amazing is that like he can process it. Like his head hasn't exploded.
It's
He
gonna have
can
a
now.
Batman-ism.
Just big nosebleed.
Yep,
Tiffany, are you in now?
I am.
What's
I am.
going on,
You got
girl?
tagged in.
Not much. Yeah, I did get tagged in.
Yeah. So we're talking about like
Darkseid.
Darkseid War.
Awesome.
All right,
Awesome.
so indie comics because I want to start getting into indie comics. Like, like
What a slur.
All
what
right,
a
we're talking about
story, what a
we're talking about Darkseid Wars. Okay, but now we're not.
now we're not. Now we're talking about
Throw
indie
it.
comics. Okay, so
Admittedly, this was a conversation Sal and I wanted to have, and because he tagged out, now I have no one to back me
Yeah,
up
but-
on.
I'm
what
sorry.
about you?
How about this? But the art's really cool, and Calabac, I always read him in Michael Dorn's voice.
Me too. What is up with his redesign? Because I thought he looked amazing in Batman and Robin, where he looked exactly like he did in the cartoon. Now he's like even more violent, and he's wearing
He's like a
red.
beast.
yeah,
And he kills a dog. Just in case you were harboring any illusions that he wasn't a bad guy, he
Yeah,
murders
exactly.
a dog.
No, or let's just shirk that off. No.
Lots of things do that though, where they just kill a dog to show how bad a person is.
Oh, they did that. Like I was going through Superman's origins, and like Krypto, like at the beginning, like Jor-El's like, hey, I know like Krypton's blowing up. We could jump into the Phantom Zone. Like it's a really horrible place to be, but at least we wouldn't die because nothing's worse than death. Guy's talking like Voldemort. And so and so they're like, no, that's not, like, his wife's like, no, we're not gonna do that, honey. We're not jumping into the Phantom Zone. That's a terrible idea. But like the portal's open at this point, and like Zod reaches out and is like, you're coming with me. And Krypto jumps in and is like, nope. And then Krypto gets pulled into the Phantom Zone. Aww. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad for that dog. Next page. I was like,
see,
they always talk about how terrible. Or no, you go ahead, Faust.
See, if we can't have Krypto anymore, can we please, and I've been saying this forever, and I won't stop saying it till we get it, can we please just have Streaky the super cat?
The super cat. And Comet the super horse.
Dude, they bring him back. I'm going to buzz the side of Wash so that he has a streak.
I like
it's going to be awesome.
And Pissy the super snake.
Okay, so
he was the lesser known one.
So here's the deal. So with The Walking, like, okay, first of all, I want to say this: Fear the Walking Dead was amazing. Has anybody?
I haven't
seen
watched
that?
it yet.
Oh god,
it's on my DVR. I got really fed up with Walking Dead like halfway through season 3.
Okay, episode number 1 is exactly what I thought it would be. It feels just like episode number 1 of the Walking Dead series. Like it's slow. They're introducing the characters, they're building stuff up, they're giving you, the basis behind them, and that's what I expected. I didn't expect it to go from like 0 to 60. Yeah, it's just slowly building things up. So over the course of the next 3 or 4 episodes, like stuff will get kind of crazy and so on. But having said that, like by the time October comes around, like I want to have a video out about The Walking Dead, like what happens to the community, because anybody who's read the comics knows that the community. Yeah, like stuff happens in the community. But besides that,
as with everything in The Walking Dead, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. Like things get really bad. Well, not necessarily for the long haul, but like temporarily, things get really bad with the community. So
it's raw.
So what I wanted to do was like start jumping into indie comics.
Okay.
And I need to know what indie comics are worth reading. Tiffany's like, I got you.
I'm like, yeah.
Southern bastards all day, every day.
No, hang on. Whoa. Here's the thing.
Let's go one at a time here.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Almost every indie book is worth picking up because the story that came in that book was from the creator. The creator had something they wanted to say, and they put it out there. You're not getting any of this editorial bullshit, right? You're not like, well, we're doing an event, so now this has got to follow that. No, whatever they put in those pages was what they wanted to put in those pages. So let's just say that right there. Bam, done. Okay. Now, if you're looking to get into indie, though, you're probably going to want to focus on Image for the time being. Although Dark Horse and IDW are doing some amazing things, I feel like that's where you're going to want to start, okay? Then you want to determine what genre do you want to go into. Do you want sci-fi? Do you want fantasy? Do you want like something? Yeah, crime, horror. Where do you want to start there? Once you got that narrowed down, we'll talk.
Okay, so while you try narrowing that down, I'm going to suggest 3 titles that I loved that more people need to read, but one of them lots of people read anyway. So that one is Sex Criminals.
Yep.
Everyone should be reading Sex Criminals. It's about a woman, or rather a teenage girl, that discovers when she orgasms, she can stop time.
She's barely a teenage girl.
That's not going on my YouTube channel. I'm not uploading a video.
I did that one, but
Yeah.
But like the story's really, really good, and
it is.
I love it to pieces. Another one.
But the channels are family friendly, man. I'm not going to upload a video about a chick that orgasms.
It stops time and uses that power to commit.
But it's not just her. There's a guy who does it too.
And his penis glows.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because that happens.
So this is why I only stick to Marvel and DC.
No,
we don't have weird stuff. We have guys that turn into giant green rage
You're gonna
monsters
scare him.
like that.
You're gonna scare him.
You're gonna scare me away.
You're gonna scare him. I don't even know if Rob's ready for Saga. I gotta tell you.
Okay.
Isn't Saga like Star Wars or something like that?
A safer indie book, a much safer one, is Wayward. It's set in Japan. It's
my boy Jim Zub, man.
It's inspired by anime, but like 90s anime, so you can clearly see your Dragon Ball Z influence there, and yeah, Buffy is definitely there.
Wayward.
But it's like it is almost like DBZ meets Buffy, weirdly.
It's in Japan. It's super popular right now. Yeah, it's really taken off.
Rob, what do you like?
Well,
Tell us about yourself, Rob. What do you like?
What do you
tell
like?
us about yourself. I don't know. I mean, it's just like I don't really go by genres.
Okay.
I just go by, is the story intriguing? Like I'm willing to read pretty much anything, and to me it doesn't matter if if it's
Well, you know what?
sci-fi or
You know, here's a good thing that might be like the gateway into some indie stuff. Southern Bastards right now from Jason Aaron, obviously who you will know from all of his work writing comics.
Get me to do Southern
is-
Bastards.
Yeah, is doing an amazing crime series
Are
right now.
you
He did another
serious?
one.
Like you want me to do this? Freaking look! I looked up a sex criminal. A guy's banging her on a sink in a bathroom.
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
That's when they're trying to rob a bank.
Yeah,
and
like
what,
they
and
gotta
what we see here is that this guy is railing this chick on a sink in
Yeah.
the bathroom.
He's just getting in there.
He's just digging into it, man.
The best part of Sex Criminals, and this isn't a spoiler because without context, it's not a spoiler. There are sex police that eventually come into the series.
Wow.
Here's a
skateboard,
book you
yeah.
might legitimately kind of dig. East of West, Hickman writes it. It is kind of an alternate history sort of book that also involves some like religious concepts.
It's trippy,
Seems
but
like
it's cool.
something you might be kind of into, maybe.
Tell me about Saga.
Tell you about Saga. Okay,
Star Wars with fucking.
it is like Star Wars. fucking now.
Star Wars was fucking.
It's like
It
okay.
feels like all these indie books have that involved.
It's like Star Wars with images you can never unsee, along with the Wonder Years. It's a coming of age story with actually some
Literally.
of the other meaning of that word, coming.
I think like with Saga, all you need to know about it is that the writer and the artist purposely made it the way it is, so it would never get onto TV.
Yeah, they didn't want it to be done in any other form.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of a giant ogre.
Yeah, you're gonna see some balls.
Yeah.
Like
Look.
you're gonna see some balls.
But like,
Nice.
it's
And
good
boobs.
that it's good that we're seeing balls. We've had vagina in comics for ages. We've had boobs in comics for ages.
Right.
Let's
Here's the thing.
have some schlong action.
No, I
okay.
understand that, but does it have to be
Testes
giant
the
ogre
new
schlong?
frontier.
Couldn't it just be not that? Right?
Okay.
Come on!
I mean,
It makes
I'm
sense.
looking at some of the apparently Apple banned the comic from their app
Yes,
store.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Looking-
huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at like some of these pages, and it's not really the the adult nature of the content so much as it is that it's just weird. Like there's a guy with a TV on his head,
It is his head.
and or I guess what?
Well, he's of the robot people, so that's gonna happen. So do you like horror?
I mean, what I'm looking at seems to really fit that category. It
Well, I
really
mean,
seems
like-
to fall in the realm
like-
of horror.
How about Snyder's Witches?
We all like
Oh.
Snyder, don't we? Read some of his indie stuff.
There's
or
only
his horror
there's
stuff.
one volume of that right now.
It's a horror book.
It's a horror
And-
book. It's
I mean,
awesome.
this is. I mean, this
We've lost him.
transcends.
See, this is why. No, see, like some people, Saga's a great gateway, but you got to know the person, right? Like some people can handle it. I'm afraid we just scared the hell out of Rob.
Yeah,
I mean-
there's like this transcends weird. This is like
Okay,
like if,
I mean-
hold
I
on,
mean-
like if tomorrow, like I'm gonna steal a line from my Fantastic Four video. If tomorrow I woke up in a world designed by Stephen King, inhabited by the cast of H.R. Pufnstuf, like
Nice.
that is what this comic would be.
well, here's
What
the
about
thing.
Another good comic that isn't necessarily an indie comic, but it definitely had no editing in it, and it was the story that a writer wanted to tell, is Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run that was published under Vertigo when that first started. So there was like no editing. It's the story that Grant Morrison wanted to tell, and it's fantastic.
Did you
Or,
like?
hey,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, or if you want to stick, that's independent but also very much in the superhero wheelhouse, should give some love to my buddy Kyle Higgins out there. He wrote a book about Chicago and about like superheroes in like a superhero union. That was pretty good. And that was short too.
I can tell that Rob is still looking at things.
No,
Of course he is.
I'm looking at witches. Like here's a panel of I guess a guy who's stuck in a tree.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a horror book. It's horror,
Why
and
is he stuck inside of a tree?
Well,
Well, read the comic and you'll find out.
Man, you gotta read it.
No, see, this is the kind of stuff that gives me nightmares, man.
I asked if you were into horror.
And you said maybe.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
well, what about
it would
no,
be like
it's-
this? This is
Okay, how about someone in the chat mentioned that like I dug Drifter. I still like Drifter. Drifter's a space comic. Space.
Okay, if you really want
Space.
indie that's fun, that's light, and you're able to relate to it easily, Gem and the Holograms.
There you go.
Okay.
Mark Waid.
That's getting great reviews. That comic, that Gem
Gem and the
Holograms.
holograms.
He ain't screwing around, Faust. He's actually not. People are digging on Gem and the Hologram.
Are they really?
Yeah.
They
And I'm
really
one of those
are.
people. It's taking the place where Dazzler should be.
Okay, here's another one for you, Rob. You've heard of Fables, right? It's the show, or it's the comic that Once Upon a Time ripped off.
No.
Uh huh.
Never
They made
read
a
it.
great Telltale game out of it. Imagine, like fairy tale creatures living in New York, trying to accumulate themselves to like, regular modern day stuff, and they've, lived in the world forever in their own secret, hidden community and everything.
Gem and the
pretty good.
holograms. Like I remember that cartoon show from back in the day, but
I feel like Rob is in a time warp right now.
no, it's just I'm
Please
looking.
don't stand on Rob.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking this stuff up. Like Jim and the the artwork's kind of weird. It's like being on an acid trip. But
How
it's
about
kinda cool.
all right, Rob? How about a story about a group of pop stars who are also gods?
That sounds cool.
Then you might want to check out The Wicked and the Divine.
Huh.
But
That sounds like a band, The
You
Wicked
want-
and the Divine.
didn't he want like less weird?
That is way less weird than
I'm
Six
looking-
Criminals
Like
or
I'm looking
Saga.
at this Gem and the holograms right now. It looks amazing.
You should also check out like Archie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of people
Check
get into
out,
Archie.
The Chilling Tales of Sabrina, or Sabrina's Chilling
Oh,
Tales.
yeah.
That's really good.
No, I'm not. No, so you're talking about Sabrina the Teenage Witch? No, sir.
No, because
No, no.
this one's actually aimed at adults rather than.
This is the gritty reboot of Sabrina. This is what if Sabrina was like an actual hardcore witch and not like the wacky fun kind.
And
Oh,
it's
okay.
like, what if Sabrina? It was a horror book.
Mm.
What could you do then? And it's like,
Did-
oh god, Sabrina's fucked up. Sabrina, what you doing? Where's Helden's Elder?
All right.
How
How
many
about this?
issues are we into with Gem and the holograms?
I like
Well,
how everything we
this
pitched
video's
that's the
happening.
one.
Like,
This
Gem
is
and the
funny. This is
holograms
not at all
happening.
where I thought Rob was going to
This is
wrap
Gem and
it.
the holograms is
I was
happening.
like, well, we're gonna go someplace. We're gonna do something spacey. We're gonna do something horror. Nope.
Second
Gem and the
floor.
hologram.
We're like
I
four
Throwing him
literally
issues in.
slime
suggested
gold
Gem-
from Jason Aaron. He's just like, eh.
No, because
And-
I really
Okay.
want to do I really want to do a video on Gem and the holograms. Like it'd be fun.
I,
But you got
guys,
the
I want
cartoon
she's
connection
truly
and the
outrageous,
movie
right?
connection.
I want the
She's true-
chat
she's
to
truly
know.
outrageous.
I want the chat to know forever that I suggested Gem and the Holograms as a joke. I didn't think Rob was gonna
You know what,
buy
I'm gonna
that.
mention that in my video. I'm gonna be like, and for those of you guys who were interested, like Faust, it's super effective. Told me to make this video.
He said,
Please do.
Send all your comments to him, please.
Yeah, send all your comments. I'm gonna disable
know what?
my comments. Just send all your comments to him.
I was this close to pitching Black Sad to Rob. Has anyone read Black Sad?
Yep,
Or isn't Black Sad a beautiful looking comic? Isn't that
It
just
is.
like, man?
it is. Look, I love books that look like that. Like the same reason I like Descender and Harrow County. Like,
Mm.
just paint me a comic and I will give you my money.
Oh, but Rob, if you
Gem
haven't
and the
read
holograms looks awesome.
if you haven't read Neil Gaiman's Sandman yet, read that. And there's also Death: The High Cost of Living, from sort of like
Which
the
is a
same.
great name.
Yeah, Death: The High Cost of Living is probably my favorite standalone
How about-
story in comics of all time.
And technically, Rob, if you like tie-in books to other properties are technically indie comics. So if you're like a Samurai Jack fan, I would suggest you pick up the
again,
comic.
more
I
Jim
love
Zub.
Samurai Jack, dude. Samurai
Dude,
Jack.
you gotta read Jim
Comic.
Zub's run.
I didn't know it was an actual comic.
Yep.
It's a continuation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
You got Yes.
Yeah, it
And
is.
his-
Dude, I am so hyped. Dude, Samurai Jack was such a cool show.
Jim
Orlando
Zub is a
Jones.
massive fan.
Orlando Jones did the voice, didn't he?
No,
Yeah.
It was Phil Lamar.
His name.
Oh, yeah,
Phil
Phil Lamar. That's who it is.
I
That's
think
who it is.
Around
also
that-
role.
Around that time, there was a Samurai Jack comic, and then I think there was also a Powerpuff Girls comic, and
I
both
don't
of
care about
those
that.
had like 4 issues released in the UK, and then Diamond UK said nope, they can't come out in the UK for reasons. I
Freaking
was like,
Diamond.
For reasons. Nice.
Dude,
Man,
that
you
is so freaking amazing, man. Like, wow. The first comic series was released in 2013. Dude,
Yeah.
so they've got full arcs. Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah,
dude,
oh,
I
yeah.
am so hyped. Okay, so Jim and the Holograms. Hold on, let me make
Samurai
this list.
Jack.
Let me make this list. Let me
See, now I made a real suggestion.
let me make this
The guy
list.
who writes Samurai
Yeah, but
Jack.
he's taking my joke suggestion. Should I just always joke with Rob, and then he'll
Yeah.
start taking me
Hey.
serious?
So
By the way,
answer is
Joel,
yes.
so are you digging on that We Stand on Guard book?
I have the first 2 issues here. I haven't read it yet. I really wanted to do a video, but I had a con before, so I'm like, ooh, I wanted to read it though. But apparently, I'm hearing good things.
Right? I read the
and-
first issue.
Another indie book that everyone here should check out, because I heard no one talk about it other than me, is Imperial. It's a romantic comedy about a boy who is destined to become the world's next superhero, because in this world there's only one superhero. But if you become the superhero, you can't have love. So he has to kind of choose between this girlfriend that he has, stupidly, or becoming the next superhero, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and everyone should check out Imperial.
Now, the guy who writes that Samurai Jack comic, Jim Zub, he also writes Wayward, and that guy is my con good luck charm. Like the last 4 cons I've gone to, because he's Canadian, he's been at every one, and I've talked to him, and I've interviewed him. And he teaches art when he's not writing comics. One of my best friends from high school, she is actually in his art class, so she actually put in a
What?
good word for me in Comic Book
What?
Cast. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, yeah,
That's
make connections.
awesome.
He's a cool guy, Zub.
Love that.
When I was at Montreal, I was sure to ask him. I'm like, yeah, when, where's the after party? Right after this, where are all the creators going? can I come too?
Well, you're
Dude.
Canadian, so he's like, yeah.
Yeah. I promise it's no. I promise it's no collusion between the comic writers and comic press. It's fine.
Dream Police. Somebody said Dream Police.
The Dream Police, they come to
I
me
see,
in my
like,
head.
it looks like he's just taking whatever we give him gold, and he's like, I don't care.
Dream Police. What is this,
mean,
man? What is this? This is a studio album.
I mean,
How about-
This isn't a comic book.
he totally ignored
I
my suggestion
just-
of Sandman.
I just
Sorry.
finished the Witcher miniseries that was out.
yeah.
What, based on the video game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, and the book.
And the books that the games are based on. There's a lot of Witcher
What?
lore out there.
I
yeah.
didn't know it was based on books.
I have
Yeah,
barely
they're
made a
Polish.
dent into that 3rd game.
I never learned how to read. What are you talking about?
I just look at the pictures and make up my own story.
That's exactly what I do. Like, what you see in the comics, I just happen to luck out when I made the video.
You've been
all that is.
super lucky.
I've been super lucky. Like, I just sort of make stuff, like, I just describe the pictures. And he's making a smiley face. We don't know why, but, you know.
But if I had to guess,
If I had to
would
guess, he
say-
seems happy. Well, the snake don't really have paws, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's his knee.
Wow,
alright,
a
so what are some
Waterboy
other-
reference. I was not expecting that.
So what are some other really good indie comics? I mean, well, see, here's a kicker. I mean, I don't mind doing stuff like Witches. I don't mind doing stuff like Saga, and I think it'd be kind of cool to do stuff like that. But the
I
problem
gotta tell you, by the
is-
way, if that tree thing upset you, Witches is going to give you an issue with trees that have holes in it. Like,
Okay.
I guarantee you. Every tree you walk past that has a hole in it, for a minute, you're like,
do they stick people in trees? I don't understand.
oh, you,
I mean,
don't
you know.
ruin it.
Okay, so you know how
Well, tell me.
the-
Don't. I mean, I'm curious now.
The short issue, or the short answer is yes.
But the long answer.
What's
It's
the long
read it.
answer? I'm curious now. Like, you need to tell me. I'm kind of curious.
Okay, you know what, Rob? You like to be on the cutting edge of like stuff that's getting TV shows and everything. You should read Jason Aaron's Scalped, because that's going to be getting a show, I think, on like USA Network or like one of the a weird fringe network. But it's amazing. It's finished now. It's a great run. If you
Yeah.
love crime stories, it's basically The Sopranos on an Indian reserve.
Yeah.
Mm. God, I love Scout. The omnibuses are out now in 2 where you can get both of them.
This was written by
Oh.
Man, Scott Snyder. What are you doing, man? You got people in trees.
Horror
Well,
is his
dude-
thing. He was a horror writer before he
Not just
started
that,
doing
but like
Batman.
the story he wrote is based off of an experience that he had as a young boy. And
Oh, I
like,
didn't
With
know
human
that.
beings being stuck inside of trees.
well, no, he had like a weird experience in the woods once, and couldn't really attribute it to anything. And then, like as he grew up, like he conceived of this story based around that experience.
Not to be confused with the indie series The Woods, written by Scott Snyder's friend and protege James Tynion.
Look, the woods are a scary place, okay? Like
Bad
I can't
stuff
go
happens in the
near
woods.
trees anymore.
This looks weird.
It's done by Jock, so it's
Oh,
like
okay.
super like expressive and all over the place, and like the art really helps to add to that crazy, I don't know what's happening, and therefore it's really scary like sense about it. So it pairs really
It's
well
a
with this
little like
horror
Aliens.
story. It's a little like Aliens.
What in the hell?
And people definitely got their fill of indie books, didn't they?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
when- because I think it's because we never get to talk about indie books, so when we do,
true.
it's just like, bruh.
And I don't even read that many indie books. I
dude,
literally
Rob,
I read.
Read Birthright.
That's
What?
another fun.
Birthright.
Birthright.
Hey, I know all of it got taken out of continuity because of the whole Disney deal, but go read Star Wars Legacy from Ostrander. Those are amazing
Yeah,
Star
I've read
Wars
those.
stories.
Those are really, really good.
Those are really good, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't even care that they're not in continuity more. They're still great.
Yeah. There's Dark Horse had some amazing Star Wars comics.
They did.
Trying
That's
to
what
think
was so
of.
disappointing. There was Star Wars like Dawn of the Jedi, I think, which explained like when the Jedi first showed up.
That's not to say the Marvel stuff isn't really good. I've been digging everything they've been putting
Well, they
out.
just don't
so-
have the same expanse, and that's what I'm curious to see, like how far Disney's going to let Marvel go. Because I mean, what they did
Well-
is they took all the old Dark Horse stuff and just said it's a Legends. And so my thought is like Dark Horse's contract ran out in August for making Star Wars comics, and so my thought is if it ran out last year, then all DC is probably going to do is just take all their old stuff and just rewrite it. Have it redesigned by artists.
Well, they're already
and then
doing that.
send it
They're
out.
slowly working expanded universe in, like Luke's old nickname from on Tatooine, like a character called him that in one of the new Marvel books. So it's like, so they're working that stuff in now.
Okay.
And apparently, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think after the new movie comes out, Greg Rucka is going to be writing like another series of Star Wars comics that takes place even further down the timeline, so they can help expand on that now.
Bitch Planet.
think
I've heard
that's
that's
what
really
they're
good too.
Yeah.
Bitch, man, it's fun.
Just know going into it that because it's Deconic, there are definitely like there's feminist under and overtones to it.
Well, I don't care about the feminist tones. It's
Okay,
just-
good. As long as you go into it knowing that and understanding the fact that it is done in the style of a 70s exploitation film.
Nice.
Well, it just the
Good.
only thing is it just needs to be found. So I mean, it can't have excessive nudity. It can't have sexual.
Oh no, it has
Oh.
excessive nudity.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, it's realistic. It's not like sexual nudity. It's more like they're in a prison and so like there's shower scenes, but like not in like the steamy like we're having a good time. More or less, I'm like, boy, this sucks sort of way.
Oh, okay. Is
Like
it,
Orange is
okay.
the New Black.
Like, are those aspects of the story that I could just skip over? Like, I don't need to include that in my discussion.
No, you really wouldn't need to. What's
see,
interesting
Rob,
too about that book is that every third issue they spotlight a character.
Oh, nice.
So, like,
nice.
Issue 1 and 2 is like part of the story. Issue 3 is about a character, like just about their story and how they got to Bitch Planet.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
so,
that's
so,
cool.
so like an HBO series. So like Oz, where it's like, hey, this week we're focusing
Oh, dude, you watched
on
Oz?
J.K. Simmons. Hell yeah, I did,
Dude,
man.
Oz,
Oz,
man, dude, like virtual high five, dude. Oz
Dude,
is
so many
amazing.
amazing actors
Oh
that
my
came out of
God,
Oz.
dude,
J.K.
yes.
Simmons, B.D. Wong.
Dude,
all those
what was
other
it? The guy that played Beecher, dude. I can't remember his
Oh,
name.
yeah.
Beecher was such a solid character. Like, I loved
Yeah.
his character. He was amazing.
Oh, Beecher, not Beaker. Okay, I thought you meant like the Muppet.
Yes,
and I was like,
Beaker from the Muppets when he went to jail. He's like, me.
Okay, well then I'll take a look at doing Bitch Planet next. Like, I'll read that tonight.
You know what you gotta do,
I have to
Rob?
go to the store and get it tomorrow.
If the problem is with nudity, what you got to do, Rob, is you got to have like a really good, instead of like a black bar or stars to cover all the good bits, you got to take like a picture of your face and like you got to be the thing that's covering up all the non.
Don't do that. Don't listen to what Joel is
That
telling you
would
right
be
now. That's
hilarious.
not That is bad advice. That is
That would
the
be
opposite of good advice.
So, Sex
I am
Criminals
just the
coming out
devil
on my
on the
channel.
shoulder being like, do this.
So Sex Criminals coming out on my channel this week. My face will cover all the tits.
But see, here's
You
another
got
problem.
no
Like,
spot.
I mean, for me, like, it's not. I mean, you know, it's keeping it family friendly, but at the same time, like, throwing up a YouTube video that has a nudity on it, I don't know how that rests in the realm of YouTube's copy or YouTube's terms of service.
As long as you mark it, as long as you mark it 18 plus, and if it's explicit nudity 18 plus, but then if it's like if you cover up bits and pieces, then anyone of any age can watch it, and it's up to the person's parents to sort of monitor what their kids are looking at.
Okay, well, I'll go through because I mean, I assume they have like several story arcs in so far, like on Bitch Planet. Like, how do they? Okay, because here's my question: like, going from the big titles, Marvel, DC, that style of story arc, how does that work with a story like Bitch Planet? I mean, if they like, so is it like the first 2 issues deal with like a particular event, then they feature a third? Like, how does that?
It's essentially it's like a little like mini break, and then you just go right back into the story. Like, essentially, they want to tell you about the characters that you're going to be involved with, but without having to just like try to cram backstory into natural dialogue. So it's like, here's a story, there you go, now you know, moving on, here's like the next issue which continues the story.
Okay, so then here's my question: like, have they, and knowing is half the battle, have they finished their first story per se?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. How many issues are they in so far?
According to my comic book store, because my comic book store, I think, has stopped carrying it. So that's a good question. I think you're gonna have to look that up because my comic book store stopped carrying them at 3.
Really?
Yeah, I heard you railing about them on a past episode. We were like,
Yeah,
my
Were they
that
just
happens
not
a
doing
lot.
well?
Like, I'll get into a series and then they're like, yeah, no, sorry.
That's why, like, these days you have to have Comixology and go to a comic store because you want the physical one.
I do.
But
I
then you
wish I had a store. I live in the sticks. My nearest comic book store is like 2 towns over, both ways uphill
here's
in the
the thing.
snow.
I got spoiled from being able to just buy the book. And then when they stopped, like, when they started more or less carrying more big 2 titles, and, like, certain indie books they have in spades, but other books they're like, yeah, who cares? Or they forget to order it, or I don't know.
Wow, Bitch Planet's not even ranked on like the monthly sales.
Oh wow.
That means they're below. They sold less than.
It's a very small,
It's niche.
it's
okay,
very...
the lowest selling comic sold 3,656 issues. Are you telling me it sold less than that?
Maybe.
Does that account for digital sales too? Because I imagine a book like that probably has a huge digital following. Or is that just physical sales that it's counting on that one?
most websites only count physical sales because
There you go.
Comixology hold digital sales to themselves these days.
Wow,
There you
X-Men 92 sold like crap, dude. It sold 7,326
But
issues.
it was the
again,
number
Here you
one
go.
digital seller. Like, that was the thing. It
Rob,
was...
yeah.
Yeah, I
You
get
can-
that. I'm saying.
You can pick up the first trade of Bitch Planet September 30th.
Okay.
So they have at least 5 issues then.
Huh.
That's usually Image does usually like 5-6 issues in a trade. So
Okay.
Oh, hey, just to hijack the conversation here because we stopped talking about new stuff. Can I talk about something that no other comic book site is really talking about right now, and that is that Ralph and Sue Dibney are totally back in DC continuity right now? Yeah, they came back.
I'll tag Sal back in for that conversation.
Freaking love Gail Simone, love the Secret Six, love Ralph and Sue Dibney. I'm glad they're back now. I'm glad she got to do it.
Word.
Word indeed.
Word.
Word.
Yeah, I want to start getting into more indie books. Like maybe the whole like Dragon Ball Z things kind of brought this on, but like I want to get into like more indie stuff. You know, things that aren't necessarily mainstream per se.
There's a lot of good choices out there right now.
Yeah.
And like 90% of them are going to get turned into TV shows or movies at some point. So, you know, you can read them and say, man, I liked that before it was cool.
But if you read Gem and the Holograms, don't go and see that terrible Gem and the Holograms
Oh my
movie.
god!
Don't even
What
watch
is
the
that?
trailer. It's the Transformersization of Gem is what
No,
it is.
that's not. I don't even know what that is.
It's Hannah Montana 2015. Like, that's all it is.
It's so terrible.
Like,
Wow.
how can you mess up Gem and the Holograms?
Apparently,
it's
you
just
can.
a soap opera. It's just an animated soap opera. Just do that.
Do what the cartoon did, but in live action. You could even use the same script and no one would complain.
Nope.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look and see if Bitch Planet was just canceled.
I think we
No,
would have
the
heard
issue
about it if it
4
was
came
canceled.
out in April,
Okay.
and that was it. And then the trade's coming out. So maybe it's only 1 through 4. That would be weird. I hope it's not canceled.
I think we would have heard about it if it was
Yeah,
canceled.
right. I think there would be a lot of people of a certain
Outcry, yeah.
gender who'd be very angry.
Oh, is it just like a digital comic?
No,
Oh,
That's physical.
oh,
a lot
okay.
of people got tattoos related to this book, so
They
they
did,
a lot of
I
people
saw
be
that.
very angry.
Maybe it's doing the thing that a lot of indie books do, including Sex Criminals and Wayward, where they release a number of them and they go on a break for like a year, release
Right.
a new.
It
The
would be
fact
like when they
that
got rid of
Saga is
Stephanie
on
Brown.
hiatus right now is killing me.
Do what?
Saga's on hiatus, or they're on their season break, as I call it. Witches is on
Oh.
break.
Wayward is on break.
Just, what the hell?
Sex
Yeah, see, it would be like when they got rid of Stephanie Brown and people started mailing waffles in.
She's back now. She's just back in the pages of Catwoman, which I stopped reading Catwoman, and I feel like maybe I should hop back in
Did they-
because
did
I
they
was
get-
liking.
I'm reading it specifically for Stephanie Brown because.
So how did you feel about her in the annual, the background annual?
Did they get rid of the whole spoiler identity?
Or no, she's still spoiler.
She's spoiler.
To
Yeah.
answer your question, Tiff, I made a joke about it in my own review where it's like, ooh, and now new Barbara meets up with Steph. And I bet they have a conversation where Steph goes, man, Barb, you really ripped off my personality and even the purple in my outfit. What? Oh, no, wait, they don't have that conversation? They act like it's nothing? Okay.
Yeah, no. They act like she doesn't know what the hell she's doing, and she's a big joke, and then we move on. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks for stopping by, I guess.
That whole scene could have been, summed up in whackity schmackity doo. Was basically it.
I can't wait for Babs to be disabled again, which sounds terrible to say, but
You talking
Well,
about
actually-
Barbara Gordon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what?
Why are you?
This is
Why,
what
why
happens.
can't you wait for her to be disabled again?
because she's so much better as Oracle. She
Yeah. But
I
now,
will say she was a lot more interesting as Oracle.
Fast, now all I can imagine is a retelling of the Killing Joke, but you're at the door instead.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
wearing
I'm a-
that
I'm a-
Hawaiian
Shoot
shirt.
her, and then you leave. Like, that's it. You're like, no, this is better this way, honey.
No,
Trust
I'm
me.
a pacifist, but if someone accidentally found a gun and a note and some money, who's to say?
Mouse is like, no, I don't do that. I have people who do that. I have a guy, you see. It's on my speed dial.
And then every time I say that, people are like, yeah, but Babs' friend is going to be Oracle. I don't care. The friend can die. The friend can die. And
So Frankie, they've done everything short of saying Frankie is Oracle. She's been like, hey, I'm thinking of a new name, gets cut off. Hey, what if I started calling myself cut off? It's like, you're Oracle. I'm just going to start calling you Oracle now, because that's clearly where you're going with this.
so
And also, she has like, I don't know if she has like MS or spina bifida, or so, she's differently able.
Spina bifida.
I heard that it was like a deteriorative or degenerative disease in her legs. Like, I've heard
Which-
everything.
Which they've
Dude,
done a
if she
terrible
had-
job summing that up, because I remember when she came out with crutches, I'm like, I didn't even know she had a problem. I honestly didn't know until she came out with crutches.
If she had spina bifida, she'd be laying on her stomach all the time.
Like,
I don't know why my
You ever
mom
seen what it
was-
looks like when a person has spina bifida?
No, I haven't. I don't know why
very,
my
dude, it's very bad. It means
I
your
bet.
spine's openly exposed.
Ugh.
can I just
Yeah.
say, I just love that someone just called me both the sweetest and the darkest person on the weekly poll.
Just in the darkest person.
Oh, sugar and cyanide. Not sugar and spice, it's sugar and cyanide.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
Yeah.
Faust is made out of.
So
Actually,
it's
it's funny. Bring it back to Batgirl, which we were. Did you see Bleeding Cool ran with an article like in the last couple hours where they say that DC's new thing they're running with is that they're going to stop Batgirling books? I'm guessing you guys didn't read that one. I did.
No.
No.
Yeah. Apparently an editor who was not named said, yeah, we're going to stop Batgirling books, which is ironic, and the article went on to say that's weird to say that because Batgirl's actually selling very good right now.
I think what they mean is stop trying to make books young and trendy and try and fit in with what
Yeah.
they think people want to read.
Stop trying to make your own Miss Marvel. Stop trying to force it because it's not going to happen.
Well, okay. See, I was, that's a really good point, because I was thinking about that, as I was going through and doing my video on Superman, on the origins of the New 52 Superman, and one of the problems that I had was this. As far as I knew, in the old continuity, Jonathan Kent died of like a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was like it. Like Martha Kent continued on. I'm sure she died at some point along the line, but she continued on, and that was like in the new one, like they die from a drunk driver.
Yeah, they murder both of his parents right away.
Yeah, his parents are murdered, like they're gone, and he was like, "Well, I mean, I guess I've been Bruce Wayne," and that drove me nuts. That kind of bothered me, because here's a problem.
The best version is Superman the animated series, when both of his parents stayed alive for like all of his career. That's why that was the best. Where he could like go home and be like, "Geez, man, I don't know, Ma and Pa Kent, I'm having a rough time being Superman right now."
And see, that's a kicker, because on my channel, I try to steer away from like biased opinions. And I'm just like, here's the story, like here's the fact, like here's what happened in this event, here's why it was written, so on and so forth. And I just give it to people that way, and that's dumb, man. Like, I don't know what DC was thinking. If they were thinking like, well, I mean, like Batman's really popular because both his parents are dead. Maybe if we take that element and apply it to Superman, it'll make him seem more human.
You know what they were thinking? For some reason, and every company does this, is they think dark automatically equals good. So they were trying to make Superman dark. Like
no, see, that's not intriguing. Okay, see, here's a perfect example. I went back and I read, like I was reading, we've talked about this before, when I was reading Convergence. I read Superman Man of Steel, issues 1 and 2. All right? Compare that Superman to New 52. And it's night and day.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that, pre-Flashpoint Superman had been around for a long time. His character grew over the course of his publications, and
we have nostalgia for him.
Yeah, he became more experienced, but and maybe it was just, I was maybe it's the way he was written or whatever the case may be, but it seemed like his character had a more like commanding presence.
Yeah.
In the comics, as opposed
he was
to,
like your dad for whatever.
Exactly. He's like your dad, and like when you're
your
reading
dad,
the New 52,
Superman.
Yeah, you read the New 52. He's like a fraternity brother.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, let's go out and like fight some villains, man, and like tear some stuff up.
Krypton.
Yeah, and let's have a new super flare ability, man, and then like let's not have any powers, man. Like, wouldn't that
crushing
be cool?
beer cans with my super strength?
Cans with my super strength. I mean, like that's how it feels. Like he feels goofy and he feels out of place. Is what it feels like. It feels like they created a Superman they don't know what to do with. And I don't like him. Like, I didn't like him at all. I did him only because like we're going through the New 52. I'm going through New 52 and doing like all that stuff. But like right now, I don't like that Superman. What's that whole face about, Tiffany? That whole, well,
I'm trying to figure out how we got here. I was like, we're talking about Batgirl and not making her like Ms. Marvel, and Rob's like, now we're here with Superman. And then I was like, I guess it has to do with the popularity thing, but I was like, yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm making a comparison when you guys were talking about like, Barbara Gordon when she was Oracle,
younging and trending
versus when she was Batgirl, yeah, and trying to take a character that has an established element of being that has a concept about them, where people are like, this is what this character is identified as, and then saying, well, let's just like shake them up and make them cooler, and make them younger and hipper, for some characters it just doesn't work.
I literally just talked about this on Joel knows I was recently on a podcast, Jacob. Right?
Yes, Superhero Pod. Yep.
There you go. And we were talking we had originally wanted to talk about women in comics, and inevitably we were talking about the future of comics, and I mentioned the fact that I'm like, the fact is, you look at Kamala Khan, right, and you look at the success there, and part of it's because she's relatable.
Oh yeah.
As a young woman, like she has legitimate like problems. Maybe you haven't seen them presented in this manner, but like you actually have, something where like people who may not feel like they fit in or like are having identity issues,
like a real teen.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you have that, but she's a new character. Even if she's technically like has the moniker of a previous character, she's a new character, right? We have all of these characters who many have existed for decades and decades and decades, right?
Almost 100 years. Yeah.
Exactly. Some of them certainly. And when these big two editors are looking at how do we change things up, well, they have this incredible task in front of them in which they need to create something new, but at the same time honor the past. And a lot of those times those things conflict and you end up with stuff that doesn't work. And a lot of that does actually end up affecting the female characters who were invented in times when like it was acceptable to make
Stuff was
Wonder Woman a
different.
secretary. You know, like
Yeah.
so then you try to push them into the future and it doesn't always work out. But then you see Ms. Marvel work out, and I don't think they understand the fact that it's like, no, it's because she's brand new. Even if she has a name that is established, she's new. But at the same time, they also
And very
know that
reflexive
characters-
of what's going on today.
Exactly, and
Exactly.
at the same time, new characters don't always work because they're not as well thought out as they should be. They just throw new characters out sometimes, and they're like, yeah, good
Like
luck.
Alpha big time. There you go. There's an example of a character who
Okay.
didn't
See,
work.
like here's a really good example. There's one issue of Miss Marvel. And I can't remember exactly which one it was, but she's talking to Wolverine, and she was like, "I wrote fan fiction about you."
Yeah.
She's like, "I wrote fan fiction about you and Storm, and like you guys are out in space, and you were upvoted like number 3." And he's like, "Well, who was number 1?" And she was like Scott Summers and Emma Frost, and he was like, "Dude, I hate my life," or something like that. And it was like a hilarious moment because like you read through her comics and she's socially awkward.
Oh yeah.
But she looks like it's like Sam Alexander. Like Sam Alexander is the
Love
same
him
way.
too.
Like you look at younger characters and they would look at those characters like we would look at those characters if we met them. Like, oh
Like
my
how
God, you're
people
Captain
did
America.
Peter Parker back in the
Yeah.
60s.
It's like, oh my God, you're Thor. Like, holy cow! Like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And that's how they
Making
act.
her a fan was a stroke of
Making her a
genius.
fan.
Making
Yeah,
Exactly.
all
Like,
that stuff,
absolutely.
that's
man.
how it goes. Like it's the same
And-
thing. You know, with Sam Alexander, it's the exact same thing, and that's what makes their characters solid. Now I'll let you say something here in a second, Tiff. But here's the kicker. Here's the problem that I have. A lot of times they'll introduce a character who is stellar, awesome on their own, and they'll waste that character. And the perfect example of that is Miles Morales. Like,
Really, I don't think he's being wasted, but
I
okay.
think they wasted Miles Morales. They had a perfect opportunity.
He's going to be
like-
getting his own book soon
He
enough
is-
in the
he
new
is gonna
universe.
be- He is going to be getting his own book. But here's a really good deal. Tell me the last time Miles Morales was relevant within the confines of the Ultimate Universe. Give me
Okay, well that's
give me like a
rough
relevance
now
story.
because in the lead up to Secret Wars and in the I guess
Exactly.
when Galactus
But-
attacked, he
But yeah, that
saved
was-
a bunch of people.
That was the only time was when Galactus showed up after Age of Ultron, and he was like,
But he was
"What?
still
What's
so
going on?"
new, and Bendis is writing that so slowly in Bendis
That
style.
is true, but to me, if I were Marvel, I would have just crossed him over. I would have said, well, an effect of Age of Ultron is Miles Morales got moved over to the normal Marvel continuity, and he works, like, he fights alongside Spider-Man, not really like a sidekick, but more like a protege.
An
so to speak.
apprentice. He's
An
grooming
apprentice,
him to
and
take
he's
the spot.
grooming him to take the spot, or and not necessarily Marvel saying like we're gonna kill off Peter Parker, but saying like if something should happen,
It
like,
would be
Miles
nice that we
Morales
got a
would be-
spare.
Exactly, and fans would love it because fans loved Miles Morales at the time.
They do.
You know, like people were like, "Oh my God, Miles Morales is cool because he adds a great new element to the. He adds a kid from the inner city. He's got
Mm-hmm.
elements of his character that people can identify with. I mean, it's really cool.
It's
to see
got
his
dad
character.
issues.
And they after Hickman, or not after Hickman, after Bennett, they just kind of never really did anything with him. They just kind of.
I would blame the event for that. I think they're going to throw him into overdrive in the new year because I mean he's on the new Avengers, for crying out loud. He's part of the all new, all different Avengers. You can't move anyone up even higher to be like, look, you are an Avenger now.
Okay, but but that doesn't mean anything. You know just as well as I do. Just because he's on the all new, all different Avengers. What if the all new, all different?
That was a
Avengers,
big long yawn. That was an epic one.
What if the all new, all different Avengers are not like the Avengers? They're just like they're like
They've
like
had
the
multiple
sidekick
Avengers teams. They could do that.
Yeah, they could, but there's a difference between being It's like DC's Justice. There's Justice League,
Uh-huh.
and then there's like Justice League Dark, and there's Justice League International.
Yeah.
And like but they're not Justice League. Like Avengers are the same way. There's like the Avengers, and then there's like West
The
Coast
Uncanny
Avengers.
No, you got to think
Yeah.
about like branding. Like there's Coke, and then there's like Diet Coke because it does something else, and then there's like Coke Zero and like Cherry Coke, but it's all under the Coca-Cola label,
It
so it
is.
all
It
works.
is.
Well,
But
it's
at the end of the
weighing
day,
on
there's
that book, which
Coca-Cola.
makes me think that yes, it is going to be the top-notch Avengers book because they wouldn't
Yeah.
just put weight on any old thing.
I agree.
No,
I agree.
I
You're
think
probably
it's-
right, but
I think it's interesting that Rob is feeling like Miles isn't being used well, and I'm wondering if with Sony and the ability to now use Spider-Man, if Marvel isn't gonna maybe put the brakes on Miles a little bit to be like, whoa, hang on.
I mean, I don't.
He's ours. You can't have him.
See,
Well,
the
not
issue
he's
with the
ours,
Marvel-
but like we're not gonna go into a movie with a Marvel movie with Spider-Man that we're gonna make Peter Parker and not have Peter Parker be Spider-Man.
I think if they didn't get the rights back, I think that's what messed it around a little bit. Maybe that's what made them want to cool their brakes even more so.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue with the Marvel movies, and not to be like all social justice warrior for a second, because I'm not like that, but I do want to say they are horrendous at representation. Recently, there was an interview about what are the possibilities of having a gay character in the Marvel movies, and the guy that is running the Marvel movies outright said, "Oh, well, I don't see how that would happen, but I don't understand how gay characters are organic." So, with a guy that says stuff like that running these movies, I'm just a bit like, great, we won't get a gay character for 18 years. We won't see a fair representation for a long time. I mean, there's the example of that Black Widow movie that is reportedly written, but it's not, and what...
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but all right. Here's the deal with the Black Widow movie, and here's
Well,
why I think.
you can't just gloss over what Fast just said and just move on to the Black Widow
No,
movie.
okay.
He put a lot of
I agree.
thought into
That was some heavy stuff, Faust.
That was-
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with Faust on that. Like that is accurate. And here's why I think Faust is right. Like I'll go with Faust's thing on that. Here's why I think it's right. Because you're talking about people, like just a person. Like I wouldn't go as far as to say that a person's sexual preference is like their defining attribute, so much as it is like what they do as a person, And so I mean I agree with that idea. Here's a question though. And Faust probably knows more about this than I do. Are there any great gay characters in comics?
Wiccan and Hulkling.
Okay, Hulkling can shapeshift, and he saved Captain America's team during Civil War.
In all comics or just Marvel?
And in general. I mean, he's talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the moment.
Okay, because
so
I was gonna
let's
say,
take that, but,
Catherine Kane is pretty great.
Yeah.
They've never. I mean, okay, they've never.
Kate.
As far as I know, they never did anything stellar with Hulkling. Like the biggest role he had is he pretended to be Hank Pym. He was an informant for Captain America, and it turned the tide in their favor in Civil War.
Okay, in terms of events, no, but in terms of how he's been written, he's a great character. I mean, it depends how you would define a great character.
No, well, is Hulkling like a mutant, or is he just a superpowered person?
No, he is a crossbreed of a Kree and a Skrull.
Oh, okay. I never read much into Hulkling, so I don't know.
He's Captain Marvel's son and one of the Skrull princesses' son. And he got raised on Earth by the Skrull princess's handmaiden because Captain Marvel knew that if they found out about him, he'd have to join the Kree military, and he didn't want that for him. And also, the Skrulls wanted the baby dead, so they just shipped him off to Earth.
It's because he's a Skrull, you'll probably never see him in a movie until they work out the whole Fantastic Four thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Somebody mentioned Iceman, but see, they can't have Iceman. They can't have Bobby Drake in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because he's a mutant, and Fox is consistently making bad movies about mutants.
I was just like, because I figured Faust was talking about Kevin Feige.
Yeah, he's the top guy.
Whatever his name is,
well,
I hate his last. Just letters I don't like together next to each other.
Mr. Kevin, there you go.
Mr. Kevin.
And I'm just reading Comic Alliance. Oh my God, Comic Alliance! What the hell is this ad that you have here? Now I can't read anything. And they were just like breaking down what he said, because like I was shocked because Feige seems to have his shit together.
Yeah, he seems like a dude who even if he felt that, he doesn't seem like the sort of dude who would say that stuff out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Based on recent comments by Marvel Studios president, they may not turn up anytime soon. You see, Feige isn't going to force it. He'll find an organic way to introduce LGBTQ characters into his fictional world.
How does it work organically?
Hang on. Speaking to Slash Film at the Ant-Man junket this past weekend, he answered a question about the LGBT representation in movies by saying there is no reason why that can't happen anytime soon. We pull the characters from the comics for the most part, and they've been forging new grounds for decades in the comics. They've been very progressive in comics, and even more recently in a very important and progressive way. We keep track of all of these things and are inspired by all those things. So I'd love to find an organic, meaningful, and natural way for that to happen at some point in the not-so-distant future. He also told them that he would think that an LGBT character will be introduced in the next 10 years, since the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be around for 8 years. So, I don't know.
But here's the thing, as speaking as an actual gay person, and the LGBT community, like, in terms of comic book readers that I know and other LGBT comic readers that I know, that answer is kind of insulting because it implies that a gay person doesn't turn up as in the same way as a straight person. Like,
No,
yeah, we're
I
a minority.
understand that. And by the way, I am not advocating for not having LGBT
I
characters.
just want to make this clear.
I do want to make
everyone.
that clear. I do.
Because
I
this
mean,
is the
like,
internet.
I'm not saying gay people don't need to be in comics.
But,
No,
like,
and I think for certain that, you know, I've never ever and would never ever have a thought like that or even advocate that even remotely. What my hope is that what he means is he doesn't want to do it just to do it. Because look at when they took Fantastic Four and made Johnny Storm black and how people started being like, why did you do that? What was the point?
Okay, no, but
You know what I mean?
okay.
And instead of like just making something so that it like so that it wouldn't be questioned as a tactic to get people to see the movie. And that's I would hope that someone would have the integrity to do that, to make it so that it wasn't just a cash grab, because that's even more deplorable in my opinion.
Then look at any gay character that's created. You will see people saying they were a cash grab. People still say Batwoman being a lesbian, cash grab. People still say Wiccan Hulkling, cash grab. People still say Kamala Khan is cash grab. People say female Thor is a cash grab. No matter what, if the character is a minority, people are going to say cash grab.
Oh no, absolutely. No, they will. But on film, in particular, people get really angry about certain things. And let's be honest, Hollywood hasn't
so
exactly done the
silly.
greatest job, especially big Hollywood, of portraying the LGBT community.
That's true.
Not really.
Yeah.
You know,
I-
like they really haven't done a very good job.
They're getting better,
now the
but there's
indie
still a
film
long way to
community, you know,
I mean-
very different.
There was recently a movie modeled after the Stonewall riots, and the first person to throw a brick at a police officer in the Stonewall riots, the person to start the riots was a transgender drag queen, and they had a dude that looked like a dude throw the brick. No, it was an important part of our community that was a transgender drag queen threw the brick. Like, that is an important part of our
They
history.
took that away from you.
They took that away from that. Yeah, I don't
that-
want a
and-
token gay character that's seen as a
Okay,
cash
fine,
grab,
then
but at
here's
the
my
same
question.
time, I do want gay
Yeah,
representation.
no, and you want representation, and I agree with you 100%. And the dream would be to see it done in a respectable manner. And like,
before the next 10 years, because 10 years
Yes.
ain't good enough.
no, I
Well,
agree.
I
And
mean,
years
they're
ago.
only now getting around to giving a woman and giving a black man
Yeah,
his
Black
own
Panther
movies.
is just now. Good. Okay, but here's the big difference though. Here's what I will say: this Faust has a legitimate point though. Like, Black Panther's been around for decades. Like, it's high time he get a movie. Like, Miss Marvel's been around since the 1960s.
Okay,
you know,
hang on
and
real quick.
she's-
I gotta stop everybody. It's not Miss Marvel, it's Ms.
It
Marvel.
is.
Miss Marvel has been around.
There's a
since the
significant no, that's an important moniker, sir. That is
It
important.
is. It is. My brain
Ms.
auto completes
Thank you.
Miss.
I'll explain that to you too.
Marvel.
Because Ms. came around in the 60s during the feminist movement because they needed to find a moniker that wasn't Mrs. or Miss, so it didn't comment on it whether or not the woman was married or not. Ms. came about to just indicate that it was a woman because Mr., you guys have one, and it doesn't matter if you're married or not, you're always a Mr. So Ms. was important because Ms. Marvel was one of the first feminist characters to come out of that revolution.
And she's a captain now. Is the thing now? Her moniker
That's
is
right.
captain because it's like no, she is the captain, is what it is now.
Carol Danvers first showed up in the 1960s. All right, She's
The
been
comic
around-
timing on that one was
She's
perfect.
been around for a long
Yeah, she
time.
has.
So it's high time that they
A lot
saw
of
those.
teams
Here
catered to-
is, and the interesting thing is, you know, with the idea of homosexuality, like that's a very new concept in comics. You know, not necessarily society itself, you know, but within comics, it's a new concept for a character to be introduced to say this character is gay. And for it to be acceptable within reason, you know, from fans. There are some fans that are just going to be like, no, I'm never going to accept that because it's change and change is bad. Whatever. Get the hell out of here. But the question is this. Marvel does not have any prominent main stage characters that are gay with the exception of Bobby
Batgirl
Brown.
is going to have a transgendered wedding very soon.
Do what? What did you
Oh.
say? What did you say?
Something about transgendered weddings.
I was
hear what
gonna
you
say,
said,
I was gonna say in the Batgirl book, what is it? The transgendered character, Alyssa Yo or whatever. She's actually getting married very soon, so that's another big step forward that's been taken in the last little bit.
Oh, okay. No, Ms. I was about to say Ms. Marvel. No, there's, with the exception of Bobby Drake, like there's no main stage like big time heroes in Marvel Comics that are gay. So here's the question:
North Star, but yeah, he's part of the team. So.
Yeah, do we introduce a small time character that nobody knows or cares about who happens to be gay as a way to give gay representation? Do you change the sexuality of a major character in order to give them drive? I mean, at what point? Like, okay, at what point does Marvel say, like, what's more important, being profitable, or, you know, gender and sexual identity equality?
But they could put one of their gay characters that might not be prominent, but if they put them on a team like the Avengers, which is going to sell because it's the Avengers, if they put that one of their minor gay characters in the Avengers movie, that gives that character publicity boost.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to make that character a big feature. You can just say, here is our gay character. We wanted him in this movie to give our audience representation because people are asking for representation. I mean, I've kind of touched on this, I think, last week's podcast, but sometimes I will admit, I do watch the Marvel movies and go, there is no one like me in these movies. Like, that is a genuine thing that goes through lots of gay people's minds. So it's a big issue, and I do feel like they should just put one of their minor gay characters in a big team, because that movie's going to do well no matter what. They ain't worried about it not doing well.
Yeah. Well, that's why I mean that's the only reason why I was asking. I mean, it's not to say they can't. I mean, I don't mean to make it a black and white situation. Like, well, either it's just my question is, okay, so let's say they did that. Let's say, for example, that Kevin Feige said, you know what, like it's time that we get some representation from all walks of life, including people who have gay, I don't know, gay preferences. I don't know what that phrase would be, but anyway, who are not heterosexual. All right, how would you introduce a character like Hulkling? How would you introduce them in a way that's tasteful, where you're basically not parading them around with giant purple letters over their heads saying, I'm homosexual.
Yeah, you don't want them to be Bunker from Teen Titans.
Like, I mean, because here's the question: what would be like? You'd have to introduce him with relevance. Okay, well, Hulkling could shapeshift. All right, well, there's your in right there. Like, Captain America can just be like, you go over there and be a spy. Well, then what do? Do you show him like holding hands with a guy? Does he just say I'm gay? How do you introduce his homosexuality in an organic way to where it's not forced in? It seems, and it's not in a way where it's just like you need to accept me because I'm gay. Like, how do you do that with a character?
The way they could
have him mention his boyfriend, done.
Have him mention his boyfriend.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a scene.
Or like the fact is like there aren't the romances in Marvel aren't like super hot and heavy. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like anything between Pepper and Tony, and anything between like now Black Widow like Hulk romance is barely anything, right? But there's something there. Yeah. If they did something along the lines of the Black Widow Hulk romance, I think that would be a nicer, like a less like overtly like, hey, look, we're doing this just because that makes people happy. You know what I mean? As opposed to like that's just the character and it's part of the story. Like whatever. Like this is just who they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other problem too, is that like,
right?
If you're not a sensitive individual who's making movies, then you're going to be ridiculous in the way you handle it, because you're going to be like, this is different, as opposed to being like, if you're like gay, you know what? You're just a person. You're just a human being. And then, like, why is it not just handled the same way? Well, because that person is stupid. Let's be honest. Like, they're dumb and they don't understand, like, how to be, like, in touch with, like, humanity, essentially. They're like, well, it's different, so therefore I should make sure that everyone knows that it's different because, it's a big deal and, I want to make sure that they understand that. As opposed to being like, no, that's just what they do. Whatever. They're just...
You know what they should do? Like, if they're going to introduce, like, Hulkling into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, he should go shopping with Black Widow.
No!
No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
I mean, if they're going to do that,
I think it'd be kind of funny.
If they were going to do that, they'd have to do that with Wiccan, because Wiccan's
there you go.
He's the bottom.
I think,
Just
I,
gonna-
I think it'd be kind of funny. No, no, okay, like that's. I mean, that's a funny thing. Like, see, I agree with Faust on this, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like you've already got a woman in there, you got a black guy in there, throw Kamala Khan in there, throw a gay guy in there, and just get some all around. Get some like what is it, Planeteer action going on there, where you've got people from all over the place.
But that being said, I don't want just to throw this out there, I don't want the Avengers to end up like that one scene in Community where the Dean is just like, oh, there's just every one of you, isn't there?
Yeah, right?
You know what series actually I thought really handled LGBT themes really well, and I know Faust knows the show. He was part of the reason I kind of started watching it. Steven Universe.
Yes.
No idea what that is.
It's a show about
Great
space
show.
lesbians.
Yes,
Cool.
that's literally
that's cool.
when you break it down. That's what it's all about.
It's a show
Technically,
about
the
space
gems are
lesbians.
genderless, but yes.
I mean, literally, okay, so it's about these gems that are from space, but they're the personified versions of
Alien
gems.
warriors.
Yeah, and so you've got two. I can't actually talk about that one because that's a spoiler. But then you've got a mother that was kind of a lesbian, but not because she fell in love with a man. But she also
And had a
was
kid.
gay.
And the kid is the hero who we follow around.
But the mother's best friend was gay for the mother, and it's implied there was a relationship there. So the mother was probably bisexual, and then the Pearl.
And it's now the kid's guardian. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pearl is now the kid's guardian, is full-on lesbian. And I love how the show is literally like, Garnet is like, I like Earth because I get to be a lesbian here. Pearl is
I'm
like,
free.
I like Earth because I get to fight for the person I was gay for here. And then the small one whose name I forget.
Amethyst.
So they don't.
My
Amethyst.
favorite, Amethyst.
I don't like her at all. Amethyst.
Oh man, I've known so many girls like Amethyst. I have dated more than a few girls like Amethyst.
But
I don't know
Amethyst
what that
is a whole
means, but
series-
now I have to see that.
Oh, you would dig it, Tiff. You would really dig it.
All right.
Amethyst for the whole series is just like, I live here. I don't like anyone.
That sounds
it's-
awesome.
It's a really, really great series. I want to watch it now.
Look, and I want to go back to what you said about the whole
funny.
the Dean thing being like, oh, no, it's one of like each one of you, right? Like, I agree with that 100%. Because if you start having that mentality and you start doing that, well, yes, I appreciate the fact that we do want diversity and we want equal rights. But if you do it for that reason, it loses all meaning.
And especially because minorities are called minorities for a reason.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. But, like, yes. So, if you're gonna... to the Marvel, Cinematic Universe producers and DC producers who are clearly in our chat right now.
Or on Rob's channel.
Exactly.
Hold
Either
on,
or.
what?
Make sure that if you decide to pursue this, do it for the right reasons, and do it in a way that makes it not like this movie stopping moment. It's just part of it. Just treat it
Word.
like it's normal. Because
Just treat it like
is.
anything. Just treat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Word.
Word.
And we've been going for a really long time, haven't
Yeah,
we?
like 2 hours
Right?
or something like that.
Dude, I got burgers ready. Sal went out and made the burgers I started making.
Is that what he, is that
Oh,
what he was doing? He was
yeah,
cooking
I got
burgers?
dinner waiting for me in the other room too. I'm having fried chicken tonight.
It's
Ooh.
1 a.m. and I still haven't had dinner, so...
But you don't eat.
Yeah.
No, but I have a protein shake and some vegetables. It's fine.
Sounds good.
Oh, man.
That does sound pretty awesome, I guess. Like just
Lucky.
protein drinks. Like, man, I'm just so excited to drink this liquid broccoli. It sounds awesome. It's just
Just
delicious.
imagining Faust getting out his knife and fork, ready to have his protein shake. Okay,
No.
put those in the garbage.
Man, you gotta-
you
man, you
freeze
gotta
it, then it
get-
becomes a protein
You gotta
popsicle.
get some friggin' steak, man. Some chicken.
There you go.
Some
or
ribs.
some chicken fried steak.
Chicken. Oh god,
Yeah.
chicken fried steak is so good. Dude, I went to.
I have never had that where I'm from, but I've always wanted it.
Oh, dude, let me tell you something, man. Like you need to come to the States. Like,
I know, man, I
dude,
do.
You will get some, man. You will get some good eating, man.
There's so many restaurants you guys have that we don't.
Oh god, like
Sir,
we got
but you have
Five
Tim
Guys.
Hortons.
We do have
See,
Tim Hortons.
We don't.
It was nice. It was nice when Armin and his wife Shay came down to Montreal for Montreal Comic Con. I got to take them to Tim Hortons for the first time, and it was this amazing experience for them.
Well,
Yeah,
I've
dude,
never had it, and I've never been to Canada. So if I ever
Oh,
go,
God, man, like
that's the first thing I'm
When-
getting.
You guys
When
gotta
I was
come up
living
and
in
visit.
when I was living in America, my favorite thing was In-N-Out Burger, and I really miss In-N-Out. Like,
See, we don't have In-N-Out, nor do we have Five Guys or any
Oh,
of those
Five
other
Guys.
places.
You don't have
Man.
Five Guys burgers and
No, we
fries.
don't.
Five
Not in
Guys
Canada,
burgers
we
and fries
don't.
is so good, man. Like, there's this place here in town called Cracker Barrel, and I think it's probably throughout the country, but
Oh yeah,
We don't
that's
have
a
Cracker
chain.
Barrels
Yeah, I
either.
didn't- I
I've
didn't
heard
know
of
how
Cracker
big.
Barrels, but we don't have
oh,
them.
dude, Cracker Barrels, man, they got this thing called Grandpa's Country Fried Breakfast. Man, dude, it's country fried steak. Hold on, man. It is, dude. It is so, dude, man. I'm gonna go get some right now. It's
We
got
don't,
country
we don't
fried
even have
steak,
biscuits
it
here,
has-
like biscuits and gravy.
What?
I just recently started making my own biscuits because we don't have biscuits and gravy here in Canada. That's not a
Dude.
thing we have.
Dude, Grandpa's Country Fried Breakfast, man. Like, country fried steak, grits, biscuits with gravy, and pancakes, man. Dude, it is to die for.
Oh, hang on one
Sounds
second. We got a subscriber, Captain
Oh,
nice.
Canada, 1871.
Captain Canada, thank you.
That's
I swear it's
awesome. It's all the food talk. Let's be honest.
okay,
Yeah.
I think we're all really, really hungry. So
I'm
Yeah, I'm
starving
gonna go get
now.
some food. I'm,
I think we
Going
can
now.
wind this one down then.
I'm gonna go get some
Yeah.
Mexican food or something.
Yeah, Sal, do you want to come and end it? Whew.
Canada's prison food. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
What up?
Cracker Barrel's gravy is amazing. Yes, it is.
All right.
Sawmill
Thanks a lot for
gravy.
watching, everybody.
Oh,
This is
no.
the Weekly
Sawmill
What.
gravy's on point.
Rob's just thinking about food now.
I know. I'm just gonna let him drone on and talk about food. Oh, Joel left.
Well, Joel just left. He's like, I'm gonna go get some food.
All right,
I'm out.
peace.
No,
Yeah,
no,
all
man,
right,
my
well,
feet
anyway,
dropped out
we're
on
not
me.
gonna wait for him. Thank you
okay.
guys so much for watching the Weekly Pull,
Oh,
everybody.
no, he's over here.
My
Crap.
feet dropped
Oh,
out.
back.
I'm kind of
Oh,
back.
he's back.
Oh, okay. Oh God, Roscoe's chicken and waffles.
Ooh, see, we don't have Roscoe's either.
Oh, dude, chicken and waffles is good, man.
Wait, why would you put chicken with waffles?
Dude, don't
Are you
ask. It's
No,
awesome.
no. All right, this needs.
It's
this
the
needs
American
explanation.
way. That's how.
Dude, chicken and waffles is a combination of like sweet and like savory.
Is it like
my God,
it's
dude.
potato waffles, right? You wouldn't.
No,
No,
waffles.
it's waffles. It's like a
Breakfast waffles.
Belgian waffle.
Yeah,
Rob
with
explains chicken and waffles.
Oh, dude, chicken and waffles is so good. Oh my God.
It's
dude.
fried chicken on top of a waffle with
Yes.
maple syrup.
with maple syrup.
You know what I love? Speaking of sweet and savory, is when you put chips, fries, into vanilla ice cream, and then
Ooh.
just like use the vanilla ice cream as a
You do
dip.
that with like
Yeah,
the
man.
Wendy's Frosty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we do that with Wendy's and Frosties, man. Like Frosties and fries.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Man, dude, I am getting so hungry right now. It's not even funny.
If you fans out there would like to send us Wendy's and
Yeah,
or
dude.
Frosties,
I'd
please
take
by
that.
all means do.
No,
Oh, dude,
don't
Cheddar's-
do
Cheddar's
that.
has Ribs, man. I can get some ribs from Cheddar's. Hell yeah.
There you go.
I'm down with that, man.
Rob's got dinner plans now, guys.
No, I need to eat right. I'll just get
Okay,
some steak.
let's go.
Yeah.
All right,
Screw
yeah.
this.
So we're bouncing out of here, guys. Thanks for watching the Weekly Pool,
Thanks for-
everybody. We will be back next week. When's the anime podcast going to be? Do you guys know?
I think we're going to have a meeting about planning it.
Yeah,
I
about
think.
that. I'm not going to be here. I have to go to a dinner for my job.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. I think. Should we just go on hiatus and pick back up again in September, which is next week?
Oh. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds long term and
And committal.
I thought for some reason this month feels like it's been going on for so long. I'm ready for it to go on forever.
It's been almost 3 hours.
no, the
Wow.
month, not
Oh,
not,
oh, the
not
month.
the
Oh, okay.
podcast. The month.
Oh, okay.
Both are pretty long though.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're going to bounce off here, and we will catch you guys later.
On the
Bye.
flip side. Bye. Sal says bye too, but he's finishing up dinner. So.